what's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's good, bro?
Man, it's officially the off season for me now, bro. Got a lot more free time on my hands now. Yeah. Less things to worry about on the weekends. I ain't got to worry about staying up too late no more. Yeah, man. Yep. Here we are, man.
I thought they were gonna win. I really did.
Here we are. You ain't the only one. I promise you ain't the only one.
Holy hell. They had momentum in the second half.
Oh, man. Here we are
Josh
again.
Allen was playing good.
Here we are again.
Not his fault.
Again. Can't escape it, bro. Can't escape it, man.
Couple sketchy ref calls in the Chiefs' favor.
Hey. It's crazy this
Typical
out here.
formula, huh?
It's crazy this out here. I've seen this story before.
But then it's also still Mahomes.
It's Mahomes, hey.
Being Mahomes.
Hey, you
Like
see Mahomes.
you got to give props where it's due as well.
Salute him, right? You got to salute him, man.
Dalton Kincaid just catches that pass.
Hey,
Who knows, right?
It was multiple things, though, man. But that's one of the ones where you're like, ooh. Interesting.
The fact that Allen got that pass off and it was actually it wasn't just like a
It
throwaway
looked
up for grabs.
yeah.
It actually was right where it needed to be.
It's kind of nuts,
And would have been at the spot to kick the field goal at least.
It would have been.
But like I know there still would have been a lot more time left. They could have had a chance to score a touchdown still.
Yeah, it was nuts, man. Shout out to the Chiefs, though, bro. That is Thanos. I'm all the way 1,000%. And the beautiful part about Thanos, you think about just how the movies went. He whooped a lot of butt for a lot of movies, and eventually, the movie worked out in everybody else's favor. So one of these days, Deke, it'll be a different ending for one of us, one of these parties involved, whether it's a Steeler, a Bill, a Lamar, a Burrow, or anybody else in between. But
problem is they ain't getting any worse.
That's definitely the problem. This is technically what we would have deemed as
I thought it was last year.
The worst that they were.
Yeah, I thought last year was their worst. Yeah. But then Xavier Worthy, he's only gonna be getting better.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna get Rashee Rice back.
Yep.
Yeah, obviously Kelsey's gonna retire at some point, but I don't think they're gonna be stressing. Noah Gray, he'll be able to step into that, at least be competent. Or they'll just draft a guy in like the first or second round to be the next tight end.
Shoot, I was looking at day going Hollywood Brown. All of a sudden looked back good. He's catching the football, running fast. I'm like, oh, all right. And then, Juju, it's like Juju outside of a Chiefs or Steelers uniform, he looks old. He looks like, all right, it's about to be over. You throw Juju back in that Chiefs uniform, and I'm like, oh.
Hopkins is like their worst receiver.
Seriously, which is kind of crazy, man. It's definitely kind of crazy. I'm like, that's option 4. What a time, man. What a time. But
Chiefs Eagles though, huh?
Yeah, man. Chiefs Eagles.
Rematch.
Saquon different though, huh?
He's unreal. Yeah, he's unreal. Eagles offense, ton of weapons, absolutely loaded. Commanders could have had a chance if they just didn't fumble the ball.
Yeah.
Like I do think you saw as the game played on, the Eagles did have the better roster. They were a little bit more overpowering, but it's not like the Commanders and Jaden Daniels were struggling moving the ball. They just kept fumbling, and the Eagles capitalized on all those opportunities, and then it just became a blowout sooner rather than later. I thought
you look up, and they didn't put the 50 up on them.
Daniels played good. That loss ain't on him. I think they had 3 fumbles. It was something crazy like that. Eagles scored on all of them.
And it was all at like the worst times too. I mean, you talk about the one. I think that was
because they got it
the
to
tight end
14-12.
Yeah,
was that going into half? I think.
Shoot, even in the second half, before it got all the way crazy when Saquon hit like that last one, it was like, they was still very much back and forth. Where it was, I think it was like an 8-point game or something like that. And then it just got Saquonish. It got weirdish, and then even the young was a rookie running back from Clemson even had him a crazy run. So craziness, man, craziness.
Yeah, obviously the Bills Chiefs was a good one. Came down to the wire. That Eagles Commanders one though. I shut it off in the 4th. You even told me that
your man KP.
I walked
snaps,
in
bro.
and you're like, your guy got some snaps. I was thinking, what? Juju, he had some catches. Is that you talking about? And then, I guess KP got some snaps. Man, I didn't even watch it. I turned it off like midway through the 4th. I was like, this game's
KP
over.
led a scoring drive, man. KP when was it Shimply? Excuse me. Yeah, when he had the long touchdown run, that was the Kenny Pickett drive, and then they basically just handed it off to him again. He finished it. You see Saquon run off the sideline. Oh, they hype. But yeah, I was like, okay, KP, I see you get your name in the paper, so to speak, man. And across the board, you could see how people are going to give you either from a Steelers perspective, dang, Kenny Pickett done been to a Super Bowl
Who cares?
now
He's a backup.
quicker
Who cares?
than the
Who cares about
Steelers.
that?
Or you had them
He's
taking
a
shots
backup.
at the rest of the NFC East. Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, Kenny Pickett had snaps in the championship game before you
that's
guys.
fine.
Like,
You
you know
can
what I'm
say
saying?
that.
Like, that's
That's
pretty much, you know, so that's what was going on right now, man. But yeah, your boy, he got out there, man.
It really doesn't say much about KP unless he's actually out there playing and doing the type of stuff that Jalen Hurts was doing yesterday. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's the backup. Like, come on.
But it's KP though, bro.
Come on, bro.
It's still
He's
KP,
the
man.
backup.
It's still KP, bro. It was good to see. I was like, yo, I know him. We know that guy. Once it's still, always still. Pure blood.
He's pure blood.
He's pure
for
blood,
sure.
man. He's definitely pure blood, man. Yeah.
But unless he actually opens up his mind, opens up his perspective, and takes in some of the things that you could learn from being a backup, I mean, I don't know what good it's really doing him right now in terms of like having a take on where he's at in his career, if he made the right decision, that type of stuff. It's like you're the backup. But you know how he said whenever he was the backup for us for that game or so, whenever Mason was out there and they asked him, did you learn anything? He said no. So if he changes that perspective with the Eagles, which he probably did, like it seems like he likes being there, and he gets an opportunity somewhere else, then I think that's the path or the way that we could find out whether or not if KP made the right decision. Because I think there is something to be said to being in an environment like that, going to a Super Bowl, and taking a step back for a year, kind of like how we're talking with Fields.
Yeah.
So if he's able to actually take that to heart, learn some stuff, gather this new perspective, go to maybe the Rams next year, go to the Colts, go to one of these teams and actually have a chance to start, then we'll find out if KP made the right choice. He needs to be actually out there playing. If he's just going to be a career backup, then it's like, bro, you should have stayed with the Steelers.
Yeah, I think that's fair, man. Especially when you're talking about the career backup element. There is a difference between being the starter that you were drafted to be, a franchise guy, versus just being a high-quality depth guy. If that's what you're trying to be, there's nothing wrong with that, but that doesn't look like bad.
Doesn't mean
towards us.
anything.
Yeah, it's not going to mean the same
It's
thing.
like, cool,
right,
you're
right.
just collecting checks.
Yeah. It's the difference between you going and, like you said, whether it's a Rams, a Jacksonville, a Jets, or any of these other potential quarterback opening spots, or where you might have a veteran quarterback who is on the back end and you might get opportunity via injury. It's like, yeah, that would definitely, boast or boost up his argument of, he made the right decision way more. I'm with you 1,000% on that, man.
Yeah, we'll at least have a take on it one way or another.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's in year 3 in his career, went to the Eagles, backup. Obviously, he's part of a good organization, good team, but you're still the backup.
Yeah.
Doesn't really mean too much right now.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. But
he did play. He did play pretty good in
action,
the.
though, bro.
I was gonna say he played pretty good in the spot duty that he was out there in the regular season.
Yeah.
Midway through the Commanders game, I think he started the Giants game, but then he got hurt. So who knows what happens in the Super Bowl? Yeah. Hey, Hurts looked good though. Hurts looked very healthy.
Hurts looked back, bro. Hurts looked like he was back.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, he done rewound the clock. He done found MVP for him again. You want Saquon to hit you with the headshots, or you want Jalen Hurts to go ahead and show you can still throw it? Yeah, he looked good. I think the Super Bowl gonna be a fire matchup, bro. Like it's a rematch on top of that. Saquon added into the equation, changes it. How'd you feel about Zach Bond? I know you were like a little bit like, surprised that he was in the defensive finals, but did you see what he did in the game? He balled out in the game too, bro.
He's a good player.
Yeah, he was balling, man. Impact. 11 of them things, TFLs, turnover. Like,
one of the things I officially realized about this Eagles team is that they're, even though they are a really good offense, they're a good team. Obviously, one of the top 2 teams in the league right now. Mm-hmm. They're probably the most boring team to watch. I can't stand watching their offense. Yeah, it's so annoying.
They are not trying to trick you. They run a small menu, but they are ultra efficient with it. Annoying. Offense and defense. Defense the same way. Man, you can get this cover 3. You can get a cover 1. We winning up front. We're going to keep the 2 high shell when we need to if we think you'll pass the team. And that's what they sitting in. They're not doing a ton of, I don't have to blitz. I don't have to trick you. But you also look at the way that they've structured their roster. It's like you look at the Jordan Davises and the Jalen Carters. It's like those dudes are killing. Nolan Smith, man, he's showing up a lot more in the postseason. We talk about the LBs at the second level. One of them dudes a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. You know what I mean? So it's like they got the pieces. And then they got guys that could cover. You got young safeties, young cornerbacks that you feel good about, mixed with the Darius Slay, the veteran. And yeah, you got a guy in Vic Fangio that's wheeling and dealing that thing, man. You got them boys playing fast. It's
that offense,
small
though.
menu, big understanding,
it's
man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just the consistent read option.
Run game, RPO, and I'm going to just milk you to death with it. Just, okay. Yep. And as soon as you make one mistake, Saquon can kill you. You make one mistake, A.J. Brown can kill you. You make one mistake, Devonta Smith can kill you. Man.
Very annoying to watch. Very boring to watch.
Yeah. But then the other side,
just
you
the
got
aesthetics,
the Chiefs.
Just the aesthetics different compared to like if Hurts is dropping back to pass, just being in that shotgun.
Yeah, it just looks more quarterback
down the field, or even the Saquon Barkley long runs. It just hits different if it's a normal run. Jalen Hurts takes it under center. Yeah, throwback like normal. 90s Barry Sanders. It's always read option.
Yeah. I mean, but that was the Commanders' offense this year. It's the same. They gonna read option you, triple option you to death. Jaden Daniels got run pass options, could pull it as well.
Well, tell me why I'm wrong, because you agree with me. Yeah. Why is the Commanders more exciting than that? I think it's maybe Jaden Daniels being able to pass at a higher clip and a better clip than Jalen Hurts.
But I also think that Jaden Daniels is a little bit more like electric when he has the football in his hands, whereas Hurts is more of like the smooth. So Hurts is like a Cadillac when I watch him play. Like he's just super smooth. Like, you know what he's gonna get to, but it's not flashy. Whereas you look at Jaden Daniels, you look at Lamar Jackson, that's more, even to Josh Allen, that's more of like flashy. It's like, whoa, it's loud, but it's lightning quick when they make their moves. Whereas Hurts is like, it's like slugging along, but it's productive. It's almost like the Chris Paul approach. It's like, Chris Paul is still a ultra elite guard, but he's not as exciting as Russell Westbrook. Yeah. When Russ out there getting triple dubs and dunking on people, you're like, bro, what is that?
Jaden Daniels' accuracy, I think he puts it more on display too. Yeah. More tight window throws.
And I also think that Jaden plays a little bit more aggressive with his like throwing the football, whereas for Hurts, he plays more within the scheme of the offense, and that's why you see more of the RPO. But he doesn't mind giving it.
The guy got to be a little bit more open for Hurts to make the throw, or it's got to be a one-on-one on the sideline.
Correct. Whereas with Daniels, I just feel like right now he's still on that young guy, bro. I haven't seen where I can't do this just yet, so I'm gonna keep doing it. And I just think that they're different mentalities with it, but both of them are highly effective. But I think that's why when you watch Jaden Daniels and specifically the Commanders on offense, it's just more exciting because of that. But it's literally the exact same style of offense. It's RPO. It's Brian Robinson. I can pull from here. I got what's my man over there? Zach Ertz is the tight end now, so I can go to there. And if not there, if I want to look deep, I got Terry McLaurin. And if that isn't there, and y'all got that man coverage, I'm gonna pull it and run. And when Daniels pulls it and run, that looks way closer to Lamar Jackson pulling it and run than it does when you watch Jalen Hurts, who, like we said, is still effective. It still gets the job done as we saw, but he doesn't feel like he gonna go for 60 on you if he pulls it. Whereas Jaden Daniels,
he's not gonna make anyone look stupid.
Yeah, you're like Jaden, like if you're not all the way alert, he can really gas you right here.
Yeah, I guess it's a Hurts problem then.
Yeah, Hurts is old school. I think he just plays old school. He looks so old. Like everything about his body, he wears the hoop earring.
Listen,
old school,
right,
bro.
Right.
Like that's just his soul, bro.
From a winning standpoint, nothing wrong with it at all. It's just boring to watch from like the outside.
Optically,
right.
He's the version of like when they was talking about the Nuggets and it was like everybody wants to shoot threes and it's like, well, the Nuggets, they pound you inside. They got the big man. It's like, I don't want to watch that. But you're like, they kick a lot of booty. Why? Because it's like, it's effective as heck, but it's not going to win a ton of style points. It's not as pretty, but you see how if you're not careful, they can still score 50 on you though. It's a physical 50. It isn't like the sexy 50 where we're accustomed to see it like the Rams Chiefs when they did the 50 with each other. It isn't that. That was like a straight body blow 50. It's there.
Yeah, I think a good part of them scoring 50 was the Commanders fumbling it as well.
Absolutely. But did they fumble by accident or were those punch outs?
Yeah.
Because that's the same thing we talk about here in Pittsburgh when we would say we do bank on some of these fumbles happening because we preach it. And you heard with the broadcast, they were talking about how that's something that they preach, punching out the football when those dudes are getting up off the ground like that, because typically that guy's more so concerned with getting up before getting touched and trying to get up the field versus ball security. get up, let me get up the field. So, I mean, I like the approach with it, and it was good to see it actually work.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, I like being able to make splash plays. My thing is we also got to have some better schemes, though, too.
And I would agree with that.
We can't be relying solely on that because when the ball's out there,
Mm-hmm.
it's like 50-50 chance if you're recovering or not.
Now, question, though, you brought up better scheme. We said with Philadelphia, their scheme is one of the most basic vanilla schemes in the National Football League right now. And based off of what they've done statistically, they're viewed as the number one defense in the NFL right now. And when I tell you they are super basic, they don't do a ton of decorating. They don't do a ton of window dressing. It's line up. You know exactly what this is, but can you beat it? That
Seems like they can afford to.
Well, true, but as you can see, though, personnel matters. This is the big part. It's like they have the pieces. We thought we had it too. Why you think we spent so much money on the pieces that we spent
we
it
had
on?
Good enough personnel when you got a Queen, a Porter, Minka, Cam
because
Hayward,
the way
TJ,
that they're playing their
Highsmith.
defense is the way that we want to play our defense, and at times you can see where that does work for us. But also, unfortunately, we saw at times this year where it didn't work, and that was big in terms of why we were like, "Yo, we need more." But to me, I just think that you got to look at all those defenses and look at how the offenses still complement them as well, because their offenses still create a ton of pressure on the opponents because their ability to score. Whereas we still feel like that's where we're kind of lacking at, our ability to have an offense that can still sustain a drive and go out there and march it, but at the same time can get me an explosive play. We feel like all those other offenses that we're playing this weekend, they can still do that while still having the good defense. They still could. If I need an explosive player, if I need a drive to keep my defense fresh, to keep my defense from having to defend against another high-powered offense multiple times, those teams have that. So that's the complement to it. Whereas when we had that going, that's when we went on that run where was it 10-3? It was like, all right, we feel great right now. But as soon as that shifted, that's when we started to see the strain on all our aspects of the ball. Whether we're talking offensively, man, why aren't we getting more? Whether we're talking defensively, when are we going to get another stop, a splash play, a turnover? It's like they got to go together.
And that's part of the reason why I want to rock with Justin Fields, because no matter what you want to say about what the offense looked like and how it could have maybe been a little bit better with him those first 6 games, we were sustaining drives. We were a more efficient running team with him. Now we got the uptick in passing with Russ, but I think that enabled our defense to take a little bit more of a rest, get a little bit more, be a little bit more fresh whenever they had to go out there. So combine that with, to me, whenever I look at Jalen Hurts and like that Eagles offense and all that, now obviously they have better weapons, but I don't see any reason why Justin Fields can't be a Jalen Hurts here. I don't see why not. If you look back at their past and just even their abilities and intangibles, like Justin Fields was the better player in college over Jalen Hurts. I think Justin Fields has the better arm over Jalen Hurts. I think Justin Fields is more dynamic as a runner than Jalen Hurts. So, like, we could do something like that here with the Justin Fields. It's just, can we get the scheme right? Can we get the weapons around him right too?
And then
but I think all of that, if we rock with, I guess basically what I'm saying is, if we can rock with Fields and he could develop and be that guy, then maybe our offense in 2025 can help the defense to the degree that you're talking about.
I'm with you on that.
I don't see why not.
I'm with you on that. I just, from my eyes, I think that is still a big jump that we're talking about Justin Fields taking to go to what we're seeing Jalen Hurts do. I'm not saying he's not capable of it. I think he has the characteristics to do it, but he still would have to take that type of jump. And Jalen Hurts isn't just a regular dude that everybody is doing that. You know what I mean?
He was given that chance too. They moved off of Carson Wentz, the guy that they drafted number 2 overall, and Jalen Hurts was given that opportunity, given the snaps, given the reps. And it wasn't perfect his first year. I think they went 9-8, lost in the playoff game, but then he really took that. He took jump in his second year starting, went to the Super Bowl, talking about him being the MVP.
Same with Lamar Jackson. Lamar in that second year when they said, all right, you the guy, it's like, he took the jump. So it's like, if you reward it, cool. If you don't reward it, then you react off of that and you kind of plan accordingly. But I think for the team, that's all the stuff they're wearing right now. Yeah. Which one of those decisions make the most sense? Which one are you willing to live with if it goes great? Which one are you willing to live with if it goes bad? And which one is the one that gets you in between and everything else? I think those are all the variables that, like I said, they're talking about. Obviously, we had Mr. Rooney talk, so we'll react to some of his comments in a little bit as well that was kind of talking about this. But think that's where we at with this thing, man. We got multiple avenues, multiple ways, but we do know based off of this weekend that kind of what we still been saying since the season ended, like the quarterback play matters, man. Like you need all the other pieces, but all them teams, man, they got the guy or the guy playing like the guy.
Yeah.
No. Shout out, man. Shout out. All right. Well, that was a dope little intro, man. But with that being the case, I guess we'll go ahead and spark it off like how we normally do, huh? All right. Sure. So let's start the show like how we always do. Y'all know the drill. Drop it in the comment section where you are tuning in from. So that way we'll give those big boy shout outs to start today's show. And of course, don't forget to hit that like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you are new to the channel.
Rodala's 330, Youngstown, Ohio. Share a line.
Gotta share a line. You know that, Deke. Talk to him. Maybe talk to him.
Jay Farrow, 213, Koreatown, California.
Shout out to Koreatown.
Jeff H, 919, checking in. Shout out to Stay JF2.
All right. Shout out.
We got Leah Warren.
What is Stay JF2? What am I missing?
I think he's just saying stick with Fields.
Oh, he's saying Stay JF2. I was like, where is Stay JF2? All right. Respect on that, man. Respect.
Leah Warren says condolences from the 254 and says welcome to the couch, Moats.
Oh, I was so cool. I was like, yo, who passed away, man? Yeah. Salute. Hey, I ain't gonna hold you, man. It's all season time, baby. We good. We vibed out. Heck yeah.
Lifted ones tuning in from the 916. Jaron, Pittsburgh Steelers for life from 559, Visalia, California.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to Visalia. One time for the culture.
Hollywood 931, Columbia, Tennessee. Checking in. What's up, fellas? From the 931.
Hey, man. Shout out to the 931. I like it. Heck yeah.
Chris Furman, the 856, South Jersey.
All right. Let me tap in real quick because I got the homie Jamie Carlo in the 321 Melbourne, Florida. Shout out to Melbourne, Florida. One time for the homie Kenneth Moses in the 757. Salute from Virginia Beach, a.k.a. The Crib. All right. And no, Kenneth Moses, I'm actually vibed out, man. We got different perspectives on the games. Y'all know how we feel about the ending of it and everything that comes after that, man. So yeah, but shout out though, man. Shout out. I'm on that season pack right now. So yeah, I feel it just all the way vibed out right now. It's a great day. It's a great day. All right, the homie though, Juice Bellamy. I think you shouted him out in the 610 Villanova. But let me get to the homie Chloe Smith in the 527 Iowa. And then I will end it with Leak. Be wise from the 215 to the 470 and to shout it. Shout out to ATL. If y'all digging how we doing it, man, let's get into it. Let's do it. Alrighty. I think we had a couple supers that popped up. We'll tap those and then we'll get to Mr. Rooney, the boss man.
AJ Martinez says this is a passing league. LOL. Tell that to 26.
Hey, I'm with you, man. Shoot, Saquon was out that day like, I don't care about what y'all said about the running back position. Saquon to put the running back position back on the map. Saquon said, hey, y'all pay guys like me. I'm special. You draft guys like me, and I'm all for it, man. That running game, bro. I mean, they saying right now, granted he's played more games, but this is like the most rushing yards we've had in a regular, like in a season period for running backs. It's like, Saquon is special. And we watching him in these playoff games. It's like, yo, he's still added to his niceness, man.
There's no doubt about that. But here's what I will say about Barkley, about even like a Derrick Henry, or whenever you saw like Christian McCaffrey going to the 49ers and being able to actually stay healthy for a full season. Like, those dudes are a part of either the great offensive schemes like McCaffrey was over with the Niners, or you got the quarterback. Like, Derrick Henry wasn't doing this with the Titans. Saquon Barkley wasn't doing this with the Giants. So, like, I think that's part of it, too. Like, you got to have everything in sequence. Like, they got good O-lines as well. Almost like when Le'Veon Bell was here.
Yeah, the full gamut. The full gamut matters, man.
Yeah, I mean, it really does. Because you're not able to put these skills and showcase your talent like that unless you have the pieces around you, namely the quarterback, but also the O-line and the offensive weapon. But him bringing up, like, this is a passing league, like, that's actually part of why Saquon Barkley is doing that good, is because the Eagles do have a lot of threats through the air here. You got Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Goddard.
Even with those weapons, we would all still agree that their mentality is still run first, though.
Oh, it definitely is.
Whereas we've seen teams that have a ton of weapons and their mentality is pass first, and we see that almost like as a detriment to some of those teams, and we're like, man, we probably should have ran it a little bit more. Whereas I think for Philly, they don't try to mix that up. They are a run the ball first team.
Still a great
that
approach
can
to winning
throw
games.
the football. Yeah, but
you
they definitely are a run first team.
You need to be able to pass, because like if you don't, then teams are just gonna be selling out on the run.
Yes and no. I think you need to be explosive in one way or the other.
You need to have that as an option,
yeah,
at least.
Like whether you're an explosive pass,
you have to, because
right.
like how many times the Chiefs during some of these runs over the last how many years, Mahomes ain't putting up that many stats.
No,
some of these games they are very much run
not.
first, but the threat of Mahomes and the threat of them passing like that opens it up for the run game.
Yeah,
and you're just trying to, like, good teams like that, they don't care about how they do it. It's just we're trying to get the win.
Right, but even with that though, it's like I get why Philly fans at times be frustrated the same way you hear how Steelers fans get frustrated at times with the overall approach to it, because it's not as pretty at times. But when you execute it the way that Philly is executing it, that's the reason why they want to run the ball. That's the reason why Pittsburgh tries to run the ball, because it's like, if you can do that, you put these defenses in binds. You keep those great quarterbacks off the field and on the sideline, and now it opens up a chance for you to control the clock, minimize the turnover or the exposure to a turnover, while still, like you said, man, scoring points and stuff. And that's what, I mean, Philly is perfect at that. Buffalo started to do it. We obviously know Baltimore. They showed that they can do both in a major way this year. In Kansas City, that's what they've been doing since Mahomes has been there. But I think, obviously, with Kansas City, they, to me, still are the outlier in it, because, to me, it's more they respect Mahomes so much that part is almost the scary element. Whereas with Philly, I don't know if they respect Hurts the same level they respect Mahomes, but they respect AJ Brown
Hurts and Lamar,
Devontae,
both part of the run
mean?
game. I think that's the difference too.
So it's like the way you have to like play them, you look at them differently, but still highly effective in terms of the stress it puts on the defense. And that's the part, like I said, for the Commanders with Jaden Daniels, that's what that is. It makes you play 11 on 11, and defenses aren't structured to do that at the NFL level. But typically, most quarterbacks at this level, they can't do both at a high level. It's either you're an elite passer and you're an okay runner, or you're an elite runner and you're an okay passer. Most recently, you started getting these, he's either elite at this and really, really good at this, or now they trying to be elite at both, and that's when you get those unicorns, so to speak. Fields has the characteristics to be that same type of unicorn, but to get that gap to where it's elite here and elite there, that's the ground that he has to cover. That's the ground that he has to make up for.
Yeah, like if you look at our wild card game against the Ravens, if you're running for 300 yards, it doesn't really have to be a Lamar Jackson type of game.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
You don't have to
got
worry
options,
about airing it out
yeah.
and stuff. Like I think that's what Philly's rocking with too. If they're able to run it, cool. Even better, because I think that's a great way to win in the modern, even though it is very much like a passing league, to still be able to run the ball, force your will on the opposing team, control the clock, just control the game from that standpoint. Like, that can be really debilitating.
But the difference also with those two teams in terms of Philly and Baltimore specifically is they got home run threats at running back. So from a fan's perspective, you still can stay engaged. Whereas right now for us, our home run is Warren, but Warren isn't primary back, so we don't get a lot of exposure to the home run. So ours doesn't feel as prolific. It doesn't feel as explosive. And
well, we had our chance to get Henry, and we passed.
Trust me, I'm with you on all of that. And I think this offseason we will see if they take similar, if they have similar decisions with Najee versus going a completely different direction with the style of running back. Because to me, that's the difference. We have the same mentality. We have the same infrastructure as those teams, but our version of explosive doesn't touch their version of explosive.
It's not even close right now.
And I think that's the big difference. With the Chiefs, they don't have that explosive running game, but they have the elite level Mahomes passing, decision making, and all the stuff that comes with that. With the Bills, you got James Cook, but you also got Josh Allen in his legs. Same with Washington. It's like Brian Robinson is good, but you got Jaden Daniels that you got to worry about as well. So now it's not just one. It's the combination of it that makes it a lot more explosive. We just don't have that explosiveness. With Fields, we felt like, okay, now you got the home run threat running the ball at quarterback, but now you still got to get the passing part.
Yeah, you could go either direction here. With Russ, what we were trying to do is be like a Mahomes style offense, even though they still do some of those RPOs, not to the degree that I guess you would look at with the Ravens or Eagles or anything like that. But you look at the Russ style, you're trying to have him be like a Mahomes, a Burrow.
Yeah, getting it out rhythm on time. Yeah.
And Russ ain't on any of those guys' level.
Right.
Now with Fields, you'd be looking at the Ravens or the Eagles style of offense. And I don't think, to your point, I don't think Fields is exactly where, or even like a Jaden Daniels, I don't think he's on the level of Lamar, Hurts, Jaden Daniels right now. But it's man, we got the 6 games. I'd like to see a full season with Fields. Because again, if Hurts is able to do it, why can't Fields?
It's easy to say that, but Fields isn't a rookie either. So Fields has had multiple opportunities. Now, granted, different setting and all the other stuff, but to act as if Fields has never had an opportunity to do these things, I think, isn't right, because we've seen him. This was the redemption arc. This is can you prove at whatever point that you can definitively be that guy? And we all agreed that even though he played really well and the best we probably have seen him play, we still felt that the door was partially left open. Hence the reason why we went to Russ, and why there was a time in them first 5 games of Russ where a lot of us felt extremely good about Russ. So that's my only thing with Fields. I think that he's definitely capable because, like you said, he is the closest thing right now, at least on our roster, and that's available free agency wise, that is like those type of dudes. He's the closest thing to
so
it.
If we're talking about being more explosive on offense, being more electric, Russ is just going to be getting older, so I don't see him closing the gap with Mahomes or Burrow or Herbert, any of those style of quarterbacks. Whereas Fields is at 25, and I still think has a ton of upside. If we give him the full season, we'll get an answer. Because I think that's the case whenever you're talking about last year. Even though he left the door open, we only gave him 6 games. Whereas Hurts, whenever he got his opportunity, he did get that full season. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't perfect or anything, but 9-8, it was enough for the Eagles to feel like they could build around him going forward, and then you saw what happened.
No, that's valid, man. It's definitely valid.
Yeah. Either way, we got to be better on offense. Clearly, we got to get better on. We just got to get better across the board. It's because we're not. I don't think we're even in the ballpark of some of these teams that we've seen over the last couple of weeks.
I say, by the way, Philly kicking butt up front. That's how we're supposed to be doing it. That's what I like. When we think of the money we spent, it should look like that. Like, y'all are gonna have issues dealing with us just up front. When we brought in PQ, same convo. It's like the anticipation or the expectation was, man, the same way they talking about Zach Bond being a defensive player of the year finalist, like, you supposed to be one of them same type of dudes that we were seeing here have like the crazy uptick in production, which he's definitely capable of. But I think that that's where we are as a whole right now. It's like we got pieces here, but what they did last year, we're going to need even more if we're going to go to where we want to. Because if we're just trying to be good, we've already proven that you're good. 10 wins is good. You're NFL good. Like, that's not a debate. Regardless of what fans might say, NFL, you're good. But to be great, which is the teams that are playing in the championship, the AFC championship, the NFC championship, the Super Bowl, to be great, that's a different level of focus, a different level of sacrifice, a different level of intensity that has to come with that. And unfortunately, the results have shown that we haven't been doing enough of that top down, coaching staff wise to players. Until we actually do that, man, yeah, we're going to kind of be in this cycle right here. Now, I'm hoping that this is changing. I'm hoping.
If we really wanted to just copy the Eagles, you really got to start thinking about how you're allocating the money on defense then.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying just shifting it straight back to offense, because that would be a part of it too. Is like you sign a T. Higgins, pair him with Pickens, have 2 elite receivers.
You get the
like
A.J.
that.
Brown, Devonta
But
Smith.
I'm talking about shifting the money going from the edge rushers to cornerbacks and secondary, because that's kind of like where they're at, right? Like how their defense is like overloaded, and then they got like the speed, they got the athletic guys on the edge.
So this is the thing, though. Even with that process, they have multiple first rounders in there as
right.
well. Nolan Smith, that's a first rounder.
I think that's
Jordan
what I mean.
Davis,
though,
those
like,
first rounders. Jalen Carter, like that's higher pedigree.
I get you on that.
So what they did was they flipped our model. Like we had the model of draft Cam Hayward first round, draft TJ first round, but then it was okay. Y'all guys have graduated to getting second contracts now. Now let's try to hit on the JPJ. Now let's try to hit on a draft pick, maybe on the back end. Most recently, though, the JPJ draft pick hit. We got to hit more, though, in the secondary. And
actually, maybe we just got to hit all around because
because they're not paying. Let's see, Cooper DeJean is a rookie. Quinyon Mitchell, rookie.
They actually spent some draft picks in the secondary.
Gardner Johnson was a second or fourth contract type of dude, but he's not breaking the bank, but he's still he's a higher contract than a Deshaun Elliott. And then obviously we have Minka, they have Slay, but Slay isn't. I don't think Slay is getting paid to that extent.
No, I was going to say they don't have one player on defense getting the amount that TJ is getting.
Right. But say for us, we got to think between TJ Cam and Minka. TJ Cam, Minka, Highsmith, that's the bulk of our money. And then you got Lario and Dante Johnson.
They're not paying their safeties, either their safeties like Minka.
And you got PQ. I keep forgetting about Patrick Quinn, but he's the other one with the big bag. Yeah. Bond was Bond a one? I don't think Bond was a 1 year, but Bond recently just signed there.
Yeah, he was like a journeyman type of dude before. I think he might have been with one team, but he was that type of player. I think,
he wasn't viewed as like this
special teams guy.
Yeah,
right. So I don't know what changed.
Nakobe Dean, that's the dude that's supposed to be out there. He got hurt 2 weeks ago. He's another draft pick as well. They hit on their draft picks.
Those were a bunch of guys that I wanted us to draft.
We talked about them. That's the elite of Georgia. It was like we want Georgia, and more Georgia Bulldogs, and that's essentially what they've done. They went and said, "Let me get Georgia, more Georgia Bulldogs." Nothing wrong with the approach. We got some we got 3 Georgia Bulldogs too, bro.
They're just better.
Yeah, but they're guys, and I think partly due to how it's simplified, it does allow them to play faster. But I feel like the players that they have, a Jordan Davis and a Jalen Carter, you don't need to scheme those guys. It goes back to the convo about, do you game it or do you just line up in front and say, my guy's better than your guy? Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter are proving that I don't need a scheme. I seen one play, Deke, this is like super nerdy football stuff, but it's a wham block, right? So it's this thing where it's designed to make the D tackle feel like they're going to come through free, and you have a tight end or a fullback off the ball coming from outside in, and they usually knock them out, clean their clock because they're not athletic enough to get out the way. And most of the time, they're so like, oh, I'm free. They don't even know to look. Dude, I'm watching them try to do this against my man, Jalen Carter. And 300-pound Jalen Carter vertically leaps over the guy and clears him. We're like, bro, 300-pounders shouldn't be able to do that. The way that just affects how you want to block certain things, like, that's not normal. But when you get that, it's like, yo, I don't have to decorate this up no more. You can't block this guy. It was one play, man. That was a Chiefs game where you see, I think it was Chris Jones. He takes the dig on guard. He's like picking him up down there, driving to the back. I'm like, when you got dudes that are actually whooping like that, man, all that other stuff becomes less relevant, man, because you can't stop this guy. Now you have to figure out how to block that. And it looks like T spent more time trying to figure out, yo, what are we going to do with this Philly front right here? Nolan Spiller, you said he just wide now and just go fast. Just get off the ball. The Hassan Riddick approach. Get off the ball. But it's like right now, man, with all them dudes hitting the way that they hitting, they can afford to have the amount of money that they spend on offense, because the flip side is, as we've talked about as well, a $30 million edge rusher versus the $30 million receiver or the running. Or obviously, they ain't paying Saquon 30, but it's like we see the impact that the guys that get the ball in their hands on offense, what that means versus what it means to have that player on defense, and how at times teams can avoid that guy.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Is if you traded TJ, got a few draft picks for him, use that leftover money, get a receiver, spend on offense, and then you just try to draft a bunch of young talented guys for defense and just load up back there on I guess just straight talent, really, and hope that they develop and hope that they hit and everything. But it's just like, to your point about like the offense, if you got a leader on offense and your offense is something, I do think it makes the job for the defense as a whole a little bit easier, and that's something at least the Eagles have over a team like us.
Mm-hmm. But there's a reason why Jalen Hurts is paid the way that he's paid also. It's not that we talking about these dudes on vet minimum deals, like they're compensated handsomely, or it's the Jaden Daniels, you were the second quarterback drafted in the draft. Like, they've invested in it. For us, we're trying to figure out the next way we want to invest in it. Obviously, like I said, we'll talk about Mr. Rooney's comments in a little bit, but it's like we're hearing different ways of how they potentially might want to invest in the position. So that's the thing to me. It's like we just got to see how that part plays out. But I think across the board, that's what I'm gonna be on all off seasons. Like, man, we got to be better there. And if we're not better there personnel wise, we need to be better there by giving that person more weapons to make them feel elevated. It's multiple ways to do it. If Jalen Hurts was playing in the Chiefs offense, Jalen Hurts probably isn't as effective. Jalen Hurts with the weapons he has, though, he looks great out there. Everybody has their different ways of how they can cook it. So it's like we can make it work, but we just got to figure out what makes the most sense to us going forward.
Z-Man, I just can't see any team we put out there next year compete with these teams. All the teams just seem to be the antithesis of a Mike T team. But I do feel like we need to leverage the house to get a quarterback.
Quarterback matters the most, man. Because all those teams, even though they play defense, even because that's the other part. It's like a lot of them teams, man, situationally, they know how to attack you and do certain things. But the flip side is they have the offenses that can also put you in conflict. They have an offense that can threaten your defense as well. So you got to be cognizant of that even when you have the ball. It's like, all right, let me be a little bit smart here because if I get him that ball back too soon, who knows what might happen right here.
Greg Yeager, Rooney saying they didn't learn anything from the Kenny era is a huge red flag. It's almost like when Kenny said he didn't learn anything from the bench.
I wish I would have heard the context on it, but to me, I think they're basically saying like they're in the same position that they were when they drafted Kenny to where they are right now. You still have a big question mark in terms of quarterback. I don't think that's a red flag. I think that if you decide to ignore that, then you lying to yourself. We pretty much in the same position right now, man. We've been in this position now for a couple years in terms of trying to figure out the answer. We got candidates. Kenny Pickett at one point was a candidate. Mr. Trubisky at one point was a candidate. Justin Fields and Russ at points have been candidates, and right now they're candidates as well. But it's like until we figure out that answer, yeah, we're going to still be kind of in this like purgatory, so to speak, man.
Flowgrown 420 Fields been in the league 5 years now and still hasn't figured it out. At what point do we call a spade for what it is? A bust.
That's legitimate.
I would have liked to seen a full year from him, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
I think that's legitimate also.
We could say the same thing about Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith. Mm-hmm. They got opportunities, and they were able to make things right compared to their previous stops. So that's all I'm looking for out of Fields. See if he can get that opportunity. Because I saw a good thing. He really impressed me this year. Like I think if I was talking about Fields going into this season, you know, when comparing him to Kenny Pickett or even like talking about whether he or Rush should start, I was saying Rush should start. I think he's going to give us a better chance to win games. And then going back to even potentially trading for Fields, I was like, bro, how much are we giving up for him? Like, why is anyone like for sure he's even going to be better than Kenny Pickett? What has he done in Chicago? I get he's put up fantasy stats, he's put up some great highlights, but his record's like 8-28, something like that. Like he doesn't play necessarily winning football. His QB rating, all this stuff gets worse in the fourth. At least the one thing you could say about Kenny is he gets better in the fourth, and you know he is contributing to us winning games. Like he's got a winning record. There's something to be said for that. I get Fields no doubt has more talent, but there's more to being an NFL quarterback than just talent. So this is how I was talking about Fields, right?
I remember,
So for me to be saying like I'm ready to give him the keys, you know, he went 4-2. I saw him play this winning football. I saw him get the turnovers down, still make some electric plays. Like I think it just goes to show of like what maybe a new situation, a new organization can do for a guy. And because I think Fields was night and day from what was going on in Chicago. A lot more comfortable, a lot more in command, and still there's degrees he needs to go up in those areas, but. What could it look like if we gave him a full year?
No, I think that's
and obviously we can't go back in time for 2024, right. But now we got a 2025 ahead of us. Yeah. And it's not like he's 30 years old. He's I think 25. Is he going to be turning 26?
He's still very young.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
still very young. Like I said, when we focus solely on the positive element, the upside of it, the what could go right, I think everything that you bring up is absolutely right. I also think when you bring up what could go wrong with Russ, I think those are valid as well. I also just look at the other side of it also of obviously what could go wrong with the Phils, but also what could go right with the Russ. And I think that's why the organization is kind of in this whole back and forth about who they're going to commit to, because both of these dudes have legit pros and cons to what they bring to the situation. I think there's a lot more stability with the Russ. I think there's a lot more upside with the Phils. I think that you feel that the ceiling in terms of where Russ can develop into isn't as high as what we think Phils could develop into. But at the same time, I feel like with Russ, it's less guesswork about what he's capable of versus with Phils. We're still going to be asking those questions of, all right, well, the 6 games that we saw last year, is that the norm or is that still considered the outlier? Because we saw the multiple seasons in Chicago. And that's what even you had said it right then. At one point, you said that that's all he was. So are the 6 games truly this change, or is it just you were able to do this for a short span of time and you had some better matchups compared to the back end, them last 5 games where, shoot, 2 of these teams are playing for Super Bowls. The other team was a dropped 2-point conversion from going into overtime potentially in the division round. And then you had Joe Burrow and the Bengals, who won the last 5 games in the season, was one of the hottest teams down the stretch. It's like Phils wasn't in that scenario. Now, granted, we'll never know how he would have reacted in it, and that's a different convo. But to me, I think that the variables matter a lot when we're talking about which of these guys we feel better going forward with. It's like all of that type of stuff becomes more in play.
I think that's the risk you run by not going with Fields, though, is like the opportunity cost of not seeing him in those scenarios. Because I'd argue in those first 6 games, he was the most steadying force we had on offense. He was doing because I remember saying this. He was probably like the most steady thing going when like we had Broderick penalties going on, or like O-line penalties going on, O-line looking in disarray at times, and Pickens dropping balls and penalties happening. He was the most consistent thing that kept the offense moving. Like it wasn't just. I know that it was easier matchups compared to like those last 5 games, but I just don't think everything was perfect from an offensive standpoint in terms of his surroundings and everything that he was dealing with. But he came out of it with 10 touchdowns and a pick and went 4-2.
It's the reason why we're having these convos about Justin Fields. It's the reason why you hear Coach T, you hear Mr. Rudy. If they weren't impressed at the least bit with Fields, they're not bringing him up. But the same token is, if they weren't impressed with Russ, they not bringing him up either. I just think that for them, they look at both of these dudes as legitimate options, whereas I think us as the consumers, we're kind of already like, yo, we either think that this is the option and that means this guy completely isn't, or it's the vice versa approach of, all right, we think this guy is the option, but this guy we're already moved on from. Whereas I'm kind of with the team. I'm like, how do we know one way or the other just yet? Like, both of these dudes are legit. Both of these dudes showed us stuff this year. Like,
it seems based off Rooney's comments, they are going to pick one though.
Yeah,
it's going to come down to one. So I think that's why people maybe have a stance one way or another right now of just like it's either this guy or that guy. And I think the Steelers even acknowledge that.
Speaking with that, because obviously you said Mr. Rooney did talk about that, man. That was earlier today, where he basically said that they want the option to be in-house. They prefer it to be either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, but he doesn't feel like it's going to be both guys coming back next year, largely because he doesn't think that either one of those guys want to share being the starter. He thinks both of those guys view themselves as starters, as QB1, and if you truly are that, you can't share that role here. You have to go have your own squad, man, in order to be the guy. But both of these dudes, in terms of the way that the Steelers view them, based off what Coach Tomlin has said, and obviously what Mr. Rooney has said, they think both of these guys are legitimate, which is kind of contrary to what fans have said about both of them dudes. Like, you either got the 100% Russ crowd or the 100% Fields crowd. But
I'm not saying Russ can't play. I think we could win games with Russ again next year. It's just, what are we doing, though?
We'll be winning games with him.
Yeah, but I'm not cool with just winning. I think we got to get back into legit contention status.
That's the whole purpose of it.
I think Russ, you got the ceiling, you know where it's at. You're not getting over the hump with him. Like you can win. I'm not saying he's completely over the hill or he can't play, he can't be successful in the league anymore. But to the degree where we want to get to, I don't think he's the answer.
Okay. Trust me, there's nothing wrong with that. That's why I kind of said what I said, because I know people for certain that have the exact same approach, but to Russ, and they look at Fields as that's a lost cause. Why are we even entertaining it? Because they feel like kind of what I forgot whose comment it was. They said basically, you've seen it for how many years now? At what point do you say it is what it is? Like, the potential is only the potential for so long, and that was one of the things we joke about internally in the league. It's like potential will get you fired. Because a coach will keep talking about potential, and it's like, man, that dude never develops. He never produces. There's no production behind it. It's just potential. Man, now we hollering about this coach can't develop this guy. This coach don't know what he's doing. It's like, no, that just means this player isn't as good as everybody thought he was going to be. It takes two coaches getting got before, they turn on the player typically. But that's why it's like I can definitely see the other side of it where people aren't as optimistic that Phil's going to develop because – what are the odds? The odds are saying that it's more than likely he doesn't develop into those guys that we've named the Hurts of the world, the Lamar Jacksons of the world and company. Then it's likely that he would develop into that. Just like I said, based off of the history of the NFL and specifically dual threat quarterbacks in the NFL.
Now, if that doesn't happen, or let's just say it's the extreme of the negative. If that's what happens with Fields and it just completely flames out, we go down the tubes. Then it's almost just like good because now
the consumer it's
like
good.
We got this top 10 pick, we got this top 5 pick to try to get the franchise quarterback.
For the consumer, that's good. For Mr. Rooney and Coach T, they don't view that as good. They view that as bad.
But here's the other thing though. I mean, realistically, is that happening with Justin? If you had to put money on it, we start Justin Fields next year. Are we going 5-12 or 6-11? I think we at least go 9-8.
Well, that's because you know who the head man is.
So I don't think there is this huge great risk of starting Fields next year. But you have all the upside.
Once again, I get what you're saying. I definitely do. They the dudes that see him every day. So it's like if they're watching him every single day, they're watching both of these every single day, and even they aren't all the. We just watch the games. We don't watch every single practice. We're not watching every single rep. That's what they do. So I'm like, if they're seeing every single thing that happens, even stuff behind closed doors, and they do all the upside stuff that me and you were talking about right now, it's like clearly there is something that is making them hold off on both of them dudes, but it's also something that's making them be interested and intrigued in both of those dudes. So like clearly they feel like both of them dudes are like that to some capacity. I just feel like when we talk about it,
that's
we talk about it, it's like we like crushing one versus the other.
The action is going to speak louder than the words.
Absolutely,
I think that's what it's going to come down to. Yeah. Let's see who you pick. Let's see what side you are really leaning here.
But think about it like this: they've already told you that either one of them dudes can come back. Outside of a $40 million deal one way or the other, I don't think it's anything crazy. I think if we saw Fields back for 10, I don't think that's an indictment on Russ. If Russ came back for 15, I don't think it's an indictment on Fields. I just think we don't know the numbers. The numbers are going to tell us a lot. We feel like Russ' number is definitely supposed to be larger than Fields, but that's the part that we feel more optimistic about Fields is because it's cheaper. Or not the only reason, but that's a part of the reason.
Maybe Russ goes to the Raiders.
No. You see Pete Carroll over there?
I think that's the better fit. I think that's Raiders are looking for some stability. They obviously, I think, value that in their hire of Pete Carroll. So you could go take a Russ over there, have him be the mentor to one of these rookie quarterbacks. Maybe you draft in the first or second round. Get the train back on the tracks as an organization. I think that's a good fit for him. I think that's the
maybe
fit.
Pete Carroll wants the young guy. Maybe Pete Carroll wants him.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that.
Coach Tomlin for certain is like, he likes what he has in the veteran guy, but I'm sure he's very intrigued by the upside of the young athlete.
No, we have stability. Yeah. We have the consistent. We're at a different spot than the Raiders.
If Coach T is the constant,
we're trying to get over the hump,
he's
not
saying
just stay
that
consistent.
If Coach T is the constant, and he's saying, hey, that's the guy that I feel gets me over the hump. Who the heck gets to say no to that one? You feel what I mean?
Rooney.
maybe, but it's like if that's
I mean, definitely Rooney. Like, he
Right.
he could be the one that
of course.
overrides everything. If he wants Fields, it's going to be Fields.
1,000%. But it's like, you ever heard how Mr. Rooney spoke on Coach T? He said, man, the reason why I'm not moving on from him is because this is a good coach, and it's a proven that he's a good coach. He's a winner in this league, and those dudes are hard to come by. Hence the reason why you don't move on from him. He's like, you look around the league, teams that are constantly moving on from coaches are trying to find guys that are proven, guys that understand it. And he said, I also talked to the guys in the locker room. I talked to this team to see, has the message gone stale? He doesn't feel like it's gone stale, but when he talks to the players, even they communicate back that they don't feel like the message is gone stale. So it's like, all right, we see how he believes in Coach T. So if Coach T is like, that's my guy, how do we say no to that one? Because we obviously know that was the whole reason why the switch even happened in the first place. Remember Coach T said, I said that I want to Russ out there. I said that this is a me league, so if it doesn't work, it falls back on me. If he's taking that approach, then what stops him if he feels like, Russ with a full all season, Russ with an extra talented this or this over here, I can get everything I want. If he feels like that, just think that it's going to be a hard,
Rooney might feel different too, though.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
With how the season ended and everything. Whereas in the moment, middle of the season, he had more, I guess, hands-off approach with that decision of saying, like, I'm just going to trust you, Coach T, on this. Yeah. Make the decision. We'll live or die with it. But then with how the season ended, maybe he wants to have more hands-on and say, I prefer going with Fields because this is more. I want to find out the answer for the future.
Does Mr. Rooney strike you as a Jerry Jones owner?
I don't know what's going on.
Does he
scenes.
strike you as a Jerry Jones type Deke? I don't think Mr. Rooney is going to get me that. I don't think he does that, bro.
I don't know.
I think this is his version of the Jerry Jones. When he does his end of the year press conference,
we don't know for sure what Tomlin's thinking though too.
This is also true because he was the coach during that process, and he looked at that same tape and said, "Yeah, this wasn't good enough, and there were multiple factors, but quarterback was still a
He's
big
the one
reason."
That's throwing Fields out there in these packages.
Yeah. So all of it goes together. I'm like, Coach Tomlin definitely is intrigued by Justin Fields. I don't think that's a debate. No. We would all agree, he's intrigued by him. That's why he kept using him. And even in closeout situations, we would bring him in certain instances. We know Arthur Smith has a little bit more of an affinity towards that style of player. Not saying that that's a indictment on Russ and Arthur Smith, because it was man, have y'all heard of Big Ben and Todd Haley? It wasn't sunshine and rainbows, but that was one of the most effective pairings that them dudes had in terms of their professional status. So with all of that, it's they work, man. A Fields could work, but a Russ could work.
See what they do.
We're going to see, man. We're going to see. But shout out to Mr. Rooney, man. How'd you feel about the Coach Tomlin part, though, man?
What?
In terms of him feeling that's the proven guy. I'm not looking for anything else. I want to pull up his direct quotes on that, misquoting him.
Well, obviously, he's not moving off him.
I'm
not surprised by that statement.
I think when you look at how many games Mike has won in this league, you don't win that many games if you're not a good coach. I know he's frustrated. Man, done jumped on me. He says, I know you're frustrated, I know he's frustrated like we all are in terms of not being able to take the next step, but we still feel good about him being the leader and still think he has the strengths that he always had in terms of being able to lead a team. The other side of the coin is when you look at the fact that we have 6, 7, 8 teams a year that turn their coaches over. When you have a good coach, you just try to keep building with them. And he also says, look, it's fair to question. He said, look, it's fair to question it after losing 5 in a row. But when I talk to the players, I think the players still want to play for Mike. I'm not concerned about his message or that kind of an issue. So, here we are.
Sounds about right. No. Coach, there's no debate. Coach T's a good coach. And obviously Rooney believes in him, which is why he made the decision to keep him, to get things back going the right way. Could this have been the time to make the pivot? I guess that's up for debate, but Coach T's a good coach. Yeah, let's see what the changes are. Let's see how we are different in 2025 compared to this last year and the last 2-3 years, and then going all the way back to the last 8 years. How are we going to be different? Let's see.
Now, Deke, I saw where the Ravens extended their assistant coach, Todd Monken. Do we want to do any extending our coordinators and anything like that? Or
Hell no.
I just figured out. I just
Absolutely
figured out.
not.
Just figured out ass on the front end. You know what I'm saying? Like
Zero
I ain't say we had to fire him, but did we want to extend him?
Well, I'm ready to do that.
Because we mainly talk about the firing part, but not the extending part. I just figured I throw it out there. Do we want to extend anybody? I didn't think we did, Deke. I was pretty much figuring we was on the same page with shout out to Danny Smith. Shout out to Danny Smith.
Give him a lifetime extension.
Y'all hit the like button one time for Danny Smith, man. And don't forget to subscribe either. All right. Shout out to Danny Smith, man. I had my bubble gum just like Danny earlier today too, man. Shout out to Coach.
No, I already told you. Terrell Austin will be out of here already. I would have tried to get Saleh in here, but I think he went to the Niners. Their DCs.
Yeah,
back there.
he's there because Aaron Glenn is the head coach with the Jets now. They promoted my former teammate, Buffalo Bill teammate Kelvin Shepard, is the D coordinator out there in Detroit now. Shout out to the homie Shep. That's actually crazy. I feel like super old when I saw that too, Deke. Guys that I've shared the battlefield with, man, out here getting real coaching spots, man. Coordinator positions. Woo. It's nuts out here, man.
Yeah, I would have fired Austin, tried to get Saleh in here. Eberflus.
Where did he end up? Where did Eberflus? Yeah, I
don't know if it's confirmed yet. I think he was talking with Dallas. I don't know if they made a decision on
Dallas
DC
went
yet.
with Schottenheimer.
Yeah, Schottenheimer.
Yeah, I was like, how you find? Yeah, I didn't really like that move. But such is life.
Might as well have just kept McCarthy.
Pretty much, because McCarthy was like they said the Saints favorite right now. Yeah, they said that Kellen Moore was interviewing down there. I know Joe Brady was interviewing down there. He pulled out of the interview. Trying to think, it was like one other pretty big name. Shoot, we need Steve Spagnuolo to get up out of Kansas City, bro. Who's gonna give him a head job? Can he get a coaching job somewhere?
He's Dick LeBeau.
He basically is, but I don't like that, bro. Get him up out of there. Somebody give him a head job, please. Let him be the head coach somewhere else, man. He's for certain not. He's just big chilling right there like nothing wrong. Such is life. Such is life.
Yeah, that's what I feel like we need something like that. I mean, both teams. If you look at both teams, they got a guy on each side of the ball that kind of knows what they're doing from like a coordination standpoint, a play calling standpoint. Eagles go out of their way, bring in Kellen Moore after they had that disaster of a year without Steichen, where we saw they finished last season. I think Sirianni took over. It was just weird. So they go out of their way, get in Kellen Moore, proven guy. He's running the offense. They got Vic Fangio running the defense. Chiefs, obviously Andy Reid running the offense. He knows what he's doing. And Spagnuolo. That's what I'm looking for. That's the type of setup I'm looking for. And I don't think Terrell Austin fits the bill for that right now.
So, honestly,
Arthur Smith I have questions about,
well,
but it's like, let's give him another year.
But check it out. But what I was going to say is this, man. Technically, like, our approach with both of those coordinators is more in line with that than what I was going to bring up was Buffalo, where theirs is more, we're going to promote dudes that aren't necessarily known all the way, but through the opportunities, that's how they are going to get up there. Ken Dorsey was the prime example. Obviously, they ended up moving on from him, but that's how he ended up being in Cleveland this year, with that. And now with Joe Brady, he took over for Dorsey, and that's when he was getting an opportunity with the Saints in terms of the interviews and stuff like that. But in terms of the defense, Bobby Babbage, before then it was Leslie Frazier. Leslie had did the retirement, kind of step away from the game, and then McDermott took over the play calling for like that in between season. But these aren't like big names either.
I get that, but they're living up to the bill. Brady was a name though, coming out of LSU,
and but it was still collegiate, no different than our collegiate swing wasn't as notable, but he was still college. I tried to be nice,
a little bit more levels.
Look, they both did some LSU. They both had some success, but it's levels
between Canada and Joe Brady.
Yes, man.
A little bit of a difference there.
But in terms of Arthur Smith and Terrell Austin, league guys. So it's like we could point to the Detroit Lions tenure with Terrell Austin and say, yo, we've seen you have success at this level. We could point to Arthur Smith in Tennessee and say, we've seen you have success at this level. So I feel like we were still trying to get that approach. It just, as a whole, man, we got more to be desired. And that's just where we are as an organization right now, players and coaches wise. And I think what Mr. Rooney is doing and what Coach T is doing in terms of setting the tempo for what the offseason needs to be, that's what these two press conferences have been essentially. We're not satisfied. It hasn't been good enough. These are the things that we're identifying right now as we got to get better at, but we're not satisfied with this. But they also feel like they're closer to getting to where they want to be than they are further from where they want to be. And we obviously know that that's just depending on who you ask at that time and how they feeling on that day. But for the team, they view themselves as we are very close to what we want to accomplish. Is it Justin Fields developing and now we got the complete answer? Is it Russell Wilson looking more like what he did at the beginning of his time starting versus what it looked like at the end? Is it somebody outside of the organization? But I think for them, they just view it as they're a lot closer and they don't want to prematurely move off of that. If that could be, hey, man, within the next year to two, it's like, yo, what if you can get into that thing? And if they feel like they can, then it makes sense for them to kind of take the approach they're taking right now.
Yeah, I think there's just a little bit of a difference between like the benefit of the doubt or like the levels of benefit of the doubt or passes that like a Terrell Austin should get compared to, like, if we're talking about Eberflus coming in here or a Saul. You've seen like a Vic Fangio getting hired with you know what I mean?
I'm not against that. Those guys got more cash.
We had a Brian Flores in house and let him go out the door.
I would also say that the guys that you're bringing up have also been former head coaches.
That's what I mean. Terrell Austin has never gotten to that point. So like I don't know why we're like hanging on necessarily where he hasn't really put out good defenses here to that degree.
But think about it like this: to the Steelers, they feel like numeric or from a statistical value, they have had good defenses under Terrell Austin. They feel like the variables and the context has a little bit more been at play. But in terms of the dudes that we would want at the times, those dudes have been employed. They have been head coaches. Robert Saleh, he wasn't available until most recently.
That's what I mean. I'm just saying these guys are out there.
But I'm with you. But this is new information. We're acting as if these guys are just sitting there on the scrap heap and we just passed up on them multiple times. We haven't.
I just think now's the time then.
And that's
because these guys are available. We've got a few years of Terrell Austin.
I think that's fair. But it's like you're almost ready. Like it's almost like you're holding it against them for not doing something that wasn't even available to them. They've had a Brian Flores
I'm saying now's the time.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying now's the time because I'm with you. I don't think Terrell Austin has been like that bad.
Right.
But again, we're talking about trying to get over the hump, get back to being great, and it's just not there with Terrell Austin in terms of defense.
When we're talking about the greatness part, that's all right, we've done 80% of what we were supposed to do. How do we get the final 20? If that is the switch, that's what they have to decide on, man. Because
they're not. But
once again, you think about their like in terms of what they see and how they view what is deemed as good versus not good. That threshold is way different than what me or even you are going to deem good or not good. So that's why they make the decisions that they make. But the track record has proven it. It can't be god awful when, like you said, the proof is you had 10 wins. It wasn't like the defense was terrible in these 10 wins, and it wasn't like they were terrible in the 7 losses. Did they have some bad parts? Heck yeah, they did. But we can say that about all of them. And I think that's why the team isn't as like just gung-ho about making these moves, even though we would all agree that there are multiple areas where, yes, they can and they need to improve it. We hoping that they make them improvements. But it's just like we just focus a lot more on the bad part of it, whereas I think for the team, when they're going through that process, they're focusing on both parts of it.
I get it, but we can't be surprised though going forward because we keep on talking about like trying to replicate what these contending teams are doing. Mm-hmm. If you look at all these contending teams, they got guys on either the offensive side of the ball or defensive side of the ball that that are coordinators and have been successful to the degree where they've gotten head coaching jobs or they're really on the come up. Like we can't be surprised then. Yeah, like if it's not good enough going forward.
True, but we are doing that. We brought in Arthur Smith. We've had a Brian Flores in here.
But again, Terrell Austin isn't to the level of a bunch of these guys that I'm naming.
I get it. You caught up on Terrell Austin. I'm with you on that. I'm with you. We'll see how the offseason goes.
What has he done as a coordinator in the past before coming here?
He had top 10 defense in Detroit. That's what he did.
It was one season.
You said, what has he done?
But then he had the worst defense in the league with the Bengals and got fired in the middle of the season. Whereas all these other guys became head coaches because they were defensive coordinators.
Fine, but you said they became head coaches. So they were head coaches.
And there were guys available this offseason. That's all I'm saying.
And that's fair.
If we want to get over the hump, then this is something that all these other teams they got a Spagnuolo.
So if they have a Spagnuolo, how can we have Spagnuolo then? You catch what I'm saying? You could say Saleh.
Saleh
was a head
available.
coach. He's been a head coach in New York for how many years
He was
right
available
now?
this offseason.
No,
Eberflus
Saleh
available.
was not available this offseason.
Yes, he is.
Right now he is.
Just went to
no,
go,
as
he
in
just
like
went to
right
go
now.
49ers.
As in right now. He wasn't available last offseason.
That's why I'm talking about making the
Right.
pivot right now. So we can't be surprised. Like, to me, we can't be surprised going forward if our defense isn't as good as all these other contenders. If this isn't something where we've addressed, like we haven't done it.
And we'll be the same ones beating our chests when they are just as good or not better. We would still have that same pride.
I hope so.
Not,
I hope so. I hope I'm wrong.
Like, we're going to still like them either way. Yeah.
But this is like, this is something I think it's very much fair to bring up and address here.
Oh, 1,000% it is.
And talk about pivoting because, again, you look at all these other defenses out there, these other teams that are in contention. They got some like really high quality guys that
I'm with
again
you, bro.
they worked up the ranks as defensive coordinators, became head coaches.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, maybe it didn't work out as a head coach, but obviously they know what they're doing on that side of the ball, like really well to a very high level.
Hey, that's why I said, are you extending any of our coordinators right now?
As I
we
said,
know the Steelers don't do the whole we're going to fire you, but
I'd be moving
like,
off of Terrell Austin. That's what I would be doing, not extending. Who else? Mike Pettin, I think, was out there.
Okay.
Another name that I brought up.
Yeah. I like Patton Bryant. Where's Patton? Because I know he was in Green Bay for a little bit. I don't know where he's at right now.
Vikings.
Okay.
Coach. So, I mean,
shout out.
That would actually be a realistic option, I feel like.
I ain't against that. I have one of my best seasons under Mike Patton, man. So,
but, hey, I mean, again, Terrell Austin will be back. I hope it works out, but I think that's approach in terms of changes, in terms of trying to do something different.
I think that's legitimate, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, what are these teams doing that are winning Super Bowls that are different from us? Now we're trying it with Arthur Smith on offense.
Now, you said winning Super Bowls. Of all the dudes you named now, how many of them actually won?
Oh, it's just Super Bowls, being in contention, whatever you want to call it.
I just think that that's a real loose term when you throw it out there like that, because we said that our standard is actually winning the Super Bowl, not did you win 10 games? Did you get to the postseason? Are you cool? Are you kind of good? It's like we're saying that this isn't okay. We want to go here. So when we bring up them dudes and you say that, yeah, they've won Super Bowls and this is like outside of Spagnolia, which of them dudes are you references like to that extent?
You got Raheem Morris with the Rams.
Employed head coach, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But he was at that time he wasn't a head coach, and McVay brought in a dude of that caliber to run the defense,
but he left there to be a head coach.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think even before that I think McVay had a Wade Phillips in there too.
Yeah, Wade is former head coach, Dallas Cowboys. Wade
stands. No, I'm winning Super Bowls, being in Super Bowl contention.
I'm just like, man, we threw that out. I'm like, who? Because Saleh, are we throwing Saleh out there like that?
Well, they made it to a Super Bowl with him, being with the 49ers. And obviously, D'Amico Ryans became.
D'Amico was one of them dudes, facts.
Yeah, he became one of those dudes. He becomes a head coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, I think that is a stone that we can unturn here for sure.
I like it, babe. I'm with it.
And there have been guys like I don't want to hear there haven't been guys available this offseason. There were guys available. Now, if you didn't like those guys, whatever. But
that's fair. Yeah.
I mean, that's something I think we're missing out on.
Yeah, I felt like when you first started off, it was like blurring between the retroactive of who we've passed on versus the current what's happening now. Yeah.
Well, we have. I mean, it is a little hindsight 2020, but we literally did have Brian Flores in house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a decision you can make there too. Of just like, hey, you know what? I trust this guy better than you going forward, and let's go with Flores. I don't think that's how Tomlin operates. I don't think that's how this organization operates. That's a little cutthroat, I will admit, but.
Because I was about to say, you sound like players would not want to be a part of your organization, and coaches wouldn't want to work for your organization because you seem like you have zero loyalty in the sense of like allowing dudes to work through the adversity. It's like, yo, they cut bait, so I'm a cut bait. They quit, I'm ready to move. Like, no, it ain't bad, but I'm just like,
at the time,
you just see real like,
we can stick with Austin because he's good enough. But either way, like we had him here, he could have been an option. There's been options over the years, but now I've never said get rid of Austin up to this point. You could look back on the tape. I've said, you know what, this defense is good. Maybe it's not all in the defense. Like we're still trying to work things out on offense. Now I'm at the point. Yes, the defense. It's clearly been an issue. Like no matter how we want to slice it, Clearly an issue because even if we get this offense right, this defense
It's got to be better.
Terrible down the stretch. Defense hasn't been good in these playoff games.
Defense will look better, as we've highlighted, if offense plays better as well. But we know offense plays better if they could get a little bit more help. And right now, a lot of that help is tied up in contracts on the defense side of the ball. And that's the reason why the messaging is what it is this offseason. It's like, oh, you got to figure out a way to get better on that other side. Because clearly y'all aren't good enough to hold it for us this whole time. Y'all have moments throughout the season. Y'all have moments even throughout the games where y'all look flat out elite, historically great. But the proof has been proven now multiple years where, yeah, y'all can't sustain the elite play for 17-plus postseason. Like when them injuries start to happen, when y'all start going into the depths, it's like, yeah, we need more on the other side of the ball. So until we get that, we're going to keep coming up short. We're going to keep having these convos about who, what, and why is it not being what it, in terms of what we want the desired result to be.
Flogrown. Oh, wait, no, I just read that. Richard Arbiza, Sasai and Tyrod have cut to back up Fields if he returns.
Shout out to my dog, Tyrod. Y'all know I'm Team Tyrod, man. If T2 available, go ahead and get the homie. Go ahead and get him. He's a winner. He gets the job done. Great decision maker. Don't you do that, Deke. You know you like Tyrod. Don't you do that, Deke. You know you like Tyrod, bro. He's a Super Bowl champ too, man.
I get like champ. A Daniel Jones or something.
What? He's way cheaper. Come on, man. You don't want that. You ain't trying to spend that. You don't even like Danny Jones. Danny Dobbs. You don't even want. What if they actually have to play Danny? You don't want to do that? Come on, bro. Chill.
I'd rather see that than Tyrod.
Oh, don't do that. Tyrod a Pro Bowler, man. Earned, not given.
Can Daniel Jones do the Sam Darnold thing? Can Daniel Jones do the Geno Smith team with the Steelers? You know what I mean? If like we had to go with him, that's.
Do you think?
I don't know.
And how much does it cost
I don't think it's that
for him to come in?
Yeah, that's fair.
You usually the money guy, Deke. You usually be
that's
like,
fair.
man,
It's
I don't want to
probably
pay
too
him that. He gonna cost a little bit.
That'd be a guy to like legitimately push Fields though.
Low key, if we do the Fields approach, I do like that.
Yeah, I have
I would
like
prefer
two
Danny
guys that are around like $10 million.
I low key prefer Danny Dimes over like a Zach Wilson type.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like Danny is way more legitimate in the sense of like, yo, you've led a team before. You've led a team to the postseason. You've been a Pro Bowl quarterback before. Question though, if you bring in Danny Dimes and you bring back Fields, and we're expecting Fields if he were to come back and not be a robust contract, what's the messaging? Is it your team or is it open for interpretation?
No, it's Fields' team.
Because Danny Dimes, to me, that isn't a backup just yet. I think Danny is on opportunity number 2. It was the organization or was it me? I think whoever brings him in is looking to give him a legit chance to fight for it. If
he's looking for that, then yeah, you're not coming here.
Okay, because I think he would be looking for that. I personally think he's looking for that, man. And I don't think he views himself as a backup, and I don't think he views Justin Fields as definitively better than him. And at the same time, I don't think Fields is going to be looking at that as, oh, that's dead in the water. I think I ain't got to worry about that. Because I think career-wise, they both kind of in the same spot where it's like they had moments, but neither one are definitively like the guy right now. Danny Dimes, though, made it further along because he got the contract, but we obviously saw him release within, 2 years of signing the deal. So.
Yeah, I think on paper it would make a ton of sense, but if Dimes feels a certain way about himself still, then.
Do you think Danny Dimes is a better option, like in terms of upside and in terms of just Fields? Yeah, versus Fields. Why not? Because they both can run, both got big arms.
Fields is better at both.
So then, why did Danny Dimes have the little bit of success that he had in New York?
Better coaching.
Shout out to Brian Dable. I agree with you on that. Shout out to Brian Dable. I do like that.
Yeah, I think just better coaching, better structure for that season. Everything clicked. Then you saw the what do they say? The Cinderella slipper fell off or whatever.
They paid him too much, man. Yeah.
Maybe Dable's part of the problem too. It just felt like there was just a lot. There's just a lot going wrong there with the Giants.
Malik didn't feel like it was a quarterback issue when they asked Malik Neighbors. He went out his way to kind of say that Danny Dimes not here, still having same issues. It's not just that.
That's
kind of what he said.
The last, 5-6 weeks of their season. Right. Yeah, it just seemed like a lot was in disarray with the New York Giants organization this year after seeing that Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks
in the
did him in,
offseason.
bro. Hard Knocks the curse, bro. It did him in.
Yeah, because I got to see. I remember watching some of those Giants games before we played them. I kept saying, like, Dimes he's actually not playing that bad. There was a lot of drops with those Giants receivers. He was fighting. Like, that's the one thing I appreciate about him. Now, how good do I really think he is? That's up for debate. But there is still talent there. There still is upside with him at least. But I'd for sure rather take my chances with Fields than Daniel Jones, given what I've seen with Fields already being in the system here.
Yeah.
Not even a question.
He looked good with Malik, though. With Malik Neighbors, is like, yeah, you got to give him some talent. But I feel like
he didn't have anyone else. It was literally only him, and then they had a bum running back. O-line was sketchy.
Time. It wasn't a bum running back, all right? The guy was a little bit banged up, Devin Singletary, okay? Shout out to the pure blood. All right, he was a little banged up, so that's what
they had someone else.
It was Tracy Thomas.
Someone else ran all over.
He gave us a $145.
Yeah,
man.
I don't think he did jack shit against anyone else.
It's a strong possibility that was accurate. Yeah.
Did a $145 on us.
You know we good for that. Yeah.
That's why we might need to move off of Terrell Austin.
I think all that's legitimate. I promise, Dick, I'm not anti it. Y'all be thinking I'm not anti. I just be asking the questions. I just want to ask questions.
Well, it's not happening. He's back.
We'll see how it continues to play out, though, man. Just let it play out.
Let it play out, or go the Aaron Rodgers route if he somehow becomes available. Like we got to get elite quarterback play for next year.
Aaron Rodgers route, though, I'm like, that's no different than the Rush route, man. Like, they're still like
that's Aaron Rodgers.
Grown, old, like on the back end, not a long like window for them. This is
that's Aaron
I'm
Rodgers,
here for
though.
a good time, not a long time. If it's Russ or Rodgers, man.
I know that's the downside with Rodgers, but I think he still has the chance to give you elite quarterback play for the next year or two. I think we're out of that with Russ. I think you're limited with Russ, whereas Rodgers, we saw he could still make every throw. Another year removed from that Achilles. If you want to take the chance, there's no guarantee with him either. But like if you want to take that chance, I'm definitely open to that. Yeah. And still, it's a chance with Fields too. But we're just at that point. We got to take a swing. We got to get elite quarterback play in here. Because if we don't, what are we doing? No. Next one. We got Dondre Zell saying, I feel like we should go with the Fields approach and get a running back. The reason I say Fields is because our O-line isn't elite.
Lean into it.
No, I don't want that to continue to be the case with the O-line. We've spent way too much and invested too many resources in it.
When is it going to get better, man? When the dude's going to be healthy, we're going to get the piece that we paid for. I want the piece that we paid for to know if we actually good or trash up front, bro.
Well, maybe once we fire Pat Meyer, we'll find out.
Are they going to be healthy or not? That's what I need to know.
This is a make or break year for Broderick Jones.
Available or not? Are they available? Are they out there?
This is a make or break year for Broderick Jones.
Yeah.
Fautano, he was looking good. He's looking promising. I think we should be all right.
Why is
outside of left tackle next year?
And why is that?
Because Fautano showed me some promise. I think he's going to be able to play pretty good at right tackle.
Okay.
Mason McCormick looks all right at right guard.
Okay.
Frazier at center, obviously. And Sayamalu, he's on the back end, but yeah, he could give us another decent year at left guard.
So you feel good about them 4 dudes?
Yeah, going into next year. Broderick Jones, the most important position on the offensive line, not so much. But that's what we drafted him to be, and now's the time to find out if he could do that for us.
I like it. Shoot, man, I think we said all right. If you said 4 out of the 5, we feeling good. All right, man, ain't nothing wrong with that. I like it.
Well,
you said it. I just want to make it because you said 4 out of the 5. As long as you said it, it's like I like it, bro. I like it.
Again, if Broderick Jones is getting lit up, then I mean that don't matter.
This is also true.
I'm saying we shouldn't be mid going forward. We shouldn't just be throwing our hands up and like, just because our line has been mid over the last year or two, that it's going to be that way going forward, and that's why we got to go with Fields.
Yeah,
I guess it could be part of the equation, but it's like
we don't want that to be
reason. This O-line still should be better.
Yeah,
it should be better.
Based off what we've invested in the room, it should be a lot better.
Exactly.
We thought it would be better this year, and the injuries happened, and we had to play younger dudes, but in those younger guys playing, we felt a lot better about the development of Zach Frazier. We felt a lot better about the development of Mason McCormick. And even though it was a very small sample size, we felt good about what we saw from Troy Fautanu. We still feel like with Sayumalu that right now that's the most consistent dude, or from a pedigree standpoint and stuff like that. We feel really good about him. Yeah, but once again, we boiling back down to the same dude that we've been talking about the past couple of seasons.
Well,
is he good enough or not? The excuse has been he's been playing out of position to the point where we're like, yo, we should get rid of that. And it's like, that's fine. But now let's find out what it looks like at his regular position if we put it back at left. Because you said that you felt fine about the other 4, and the other 4 have been having the same dude teach them. But this is the one that we got the question mark still, regardless if he's at right or left. That's my only thing. But that's why I was like, I like the fact that you were saying they were good, because if I said it, then it's like, yo, you on the payroll, you're an apologist. So I'm like, I get it, but from your eyes, you feel like they're good.
Year. They weren't good last year.
So
I'm saying going forward, we're getting a year 2 Mason McCormick.
But I'm asking, like, why do you feel better about them then? Even in year 2, like, what did you see in year 1 that would make you feel optimistic? Like, because when you speak on Russ, you don't feel optimistic about Russ going into year 2 as a whole compared to Fields, right? Like, that's been pretty clear.
No, what are we talking about? If I'm talking about winning a Super Bowl, no.
So what we talk about? I thought that's what we talk about for all this. Are we not?
Right. I mean, I'm moving off. I think you're wasting time with Russ. I think he's limited to the degree. And quarterback's the most important position.
Right.
As well.
So I'm saying, if you already have that, and you feel like that based on what you saw from Russ this year, and under that same context, you're saying that you looked at Trey Fontana and you said, yo, I like what I saw with him. You said with Mason McCormick, you like what you saw with Mason. You said with Zach Frazier, like we saw with him. You said with Say Out. That's what you said. So if this, in terms of Russ, you already feel like isn't it, but you feel like these guys give you a chance to get to that, that is like, yo.
Well, quarterback again. Quarterback's the most important position.
That's fair, but we also see that protection matters a lot, doesn't it?
I think it's definitely a different conversation that you're having between the two. What are you trying to get at here in terms of like the offensive line versus
No, I'm
Russ?
just saying, like, you feel like 4 of the 5 are good enough for us to win a championship. Or is that not what you're saying then? Because I thought we were saying championship or not.
I'm just saying I feel good about this O-line getting better going into next year.
I like it then.
Like, in terms of championship and stuff, that's why we keep talking about quarterback. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely.
So, whether the O-line is average or above average, we need the quarterback. We just need the quarterback.
They both matter, though. But it's just, it seems a different tone today when you're talking about the O-line compared to when we were just in here on, was that Thursday? And we're doing that.
I'm talking about
Wednesday,
going
we're doing
forward.
the exercise of like, yo, who did you feel good about, pass or fail?
I'm talking
You were
about going
like
forward.
adamant about the O-line being a fail. Whereas I felt like what you're saying right now was what I was saying even then. It wasn't just you. It was multiple people. It was like, yo.
Oh, you had Broderick Jones and Dan Moore getting cooked on the sides. So, like, that's part of it.
What am I missing, though? But Fautano's been hurt. That was the whole issue of why we said what we said about the O-line.
That's what I'm excited about. I'm a little bit more excited about it going forward and think it should be better than, like he's saying, mid or below mid. We got Fautano starting right tackle. Guy we spent a first-round pick on instead of Broderick Jones being over on that side. Now, the issue for next year, that's just going to be, I think, a looming uncertainty over this team this whole offseason is just Broderick Jones, is he going to be good enough at left tackle? Because even though we're replacing him at right tackle with Fautano, he's moving over to left and he's replacing Dan Moore. And I don't really know if there's a grand solution over there. I think it's just Broderick Jones or bust.
I'm with you.
Like, are we gonna draft another tackle? We just spent 2 draft picks.
There's no way you can go 3 first-round draft picks on tackles and back to back. You can't do it, bro.
Can't
do
that.
it. You can't do it.
I don't really know who's out there. I mean, you could re-sign Dan Moore, but my thing is, what's the point?
What is the point of you doing that? Yeah, that's
what's
why
the
you
point?
drafted.
Because Dan Moore didn't have a good season to end or to finish. He started off good, but you saw how he finished it up. It's like, all right, we might as well put Broderick Jones out there, the guy we drafted to replace Dan Moore, and see if he can actually live up to his potential, and we'll be paying him less than what we would Dan Moore. I think all signs point to Broderick Jones starting at left tackle.
Don't you love it, bro? I love it, bro. It's just like, oh, all right, I see how we've attempted to fix it, that we kind of got a little bit of a mess on our hands right now, man. I'm just hoping that at least the other 4 positions we feel good about, and we can keep feeling good about that.
Bummed about Daniels, but McCormick played good enough.
I mean,
you got to stick with McCormick.
Would you entertain the scenario of flipping it? I know in your scenario you said McCormick and Sayumalu. What if it was McCormick and Daniels? You let Sayumalu leave.
Daniels at left guard.
No, you keep Daniels at right. You put McCormick at left.
Wasn't McCormick more left in college too?
Yeah. So it's like we've talked about how those dudes, how they play in there. Oh, you're playing them in position, out of position, stuff like that. Do you consider that? Because we felt really good about James Daniels also.
Yeah.
And he's been our highest paid offensive lineman coming off
that Achilles.
Based off the Achilles, though.
Yeah.
But granted, his position slightly different than when we're talking quarterback, wide receiver, running backs, or some of the ones where you have a lot more of the in-space type of explosion being altered. This is more close quarters, so the hope is that it shouldn't be as challenging for him. And granted, it happened early. It was the second game of the year. Excuse me, was it second or third game?
It was early.
Pretty early in the season when it happened.
So we lost Fiatown, and then we lost him shortly after.
Yeah, so the hope is like you'll be getting that back, and it's not like it's, fresh at he's right at the 11-month mark. It's like, no, he should be, hopefully he'll would pass that, but we got to see what it looks like, man.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth it considering like the upgrade that you'd be getting from. I don't even know if it would be an upgrade of doing all that. Because
you're basically saying what I'm basically would be. What they'll be trying to figure out is if James Daniels coming off the Achilles is a better player than as Sayamalu is right now after a healthy season.
Yeah.
Because if you feel like he is, then you go with James. But you are going to have to do another contract for James. Because his deal is up. Yeah.
Flip-flopping on the line, which might be better for McCormick.
And he might be cheaper this time around, too, compared to what it would have been pre-Achilles.
You would just cut Sayamalu then, for sure.
Yeah. Because I think he has a year left on the deal, so you're not really going to have a ton of trade options with it outside of we'll do this in like a pick swap type thing, because whoever's getting him, you're only getting him for that, final year.
Yeah.
But I was definitely thinking that if we truly wanted to keep James Daniels, because
I like
we
him.
do feel like James is a good player,
man.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, when you tear the Achilles, and you see a younger guy come in and play well, which McCormick did do.
Right.
This is kind of the decisions that it gets pivoted to.
Especially when you're talking about this O-line trying to be better going forward. I think part of that is having the young guys grow up together.
Yeah.
Like what we did back in the day.
You've
with
heard
Pouncey
Ramon talk about that.
Yeah,
multiple times. Like, let them dudes grow, man. That'll give them a chance to really get locked in. And if they keep doing it the way they're supposed to, a year, 2 years from now we're looking up and we feel great about this group and we keep them together.
Yep. Yeah. Joe Gerbis, this one's for you. He says, is it fire Allen now? So we could trade for him, please.
What y'all mean, man? You don't want to trade for no Josh, man. Y'all leave Josh alone, man. Josh can't get it done. Remember, he can't win the big ones, man. That's what I think. That should be the narrative, man.
No, yesterday wasn't on Josh.
No, yeah, Again. It was. It doesn't matter.
Nope.
What's his record versus Mahomes? It doesn't matter, man. He can't get it done in the big one. Yeah.
Ain't on him. Actually, the last 3 losses aren't on him.
I am with you, bro. But
the first game they played, the Bills were just that was too early for them at that point. I think they lost by. That was the first AFC Championship.
That was 20.
Lost by like double digits or something.
No.
Because then it was 13 seconds. Then it was the field goal miss last year, and then it was this game.
Yeah, Chiefs never blowing them out. This was the
that was a bad AFC. This was the first time they met in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, it's the 4th one.
That's what I mean. The first time.
This is only their second AFC Championship appearance, man.
No, I know, but they've lost to the Chiefs in the division.
Oh, yeah.
The 4 playoff game.
Yeah.
I think the first one was an AFC Championship game.
Yeah, that was the one that was the 13 seconds. That was that one. Yeah.
No. That was a divisional. That was the Gabe Davis.
Okay.
Hey,
man, you got your history better than me, did.
All I'm saying is, literally 3 of the 4 games have not been on Josh at all. He's played good and all. You could look at the stats between the 2 quarterbacks. It's actually identical.
Like even. Yeah, everything is pretty much even. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, man. Both teams, you know how it go. You gotta be perfect with that one, man.
So if he's up for trade, just let us know.
He ain't available for trade. In fact, Buffalo is like they gonna have some money this all season to actually go spend and get some corners and some receivers and some help. They was down a little bit. The Diggs of the world, the Micah Hydes and the Jordan Poyers and the Tre'Davious Whites of the world. Yeah, those are no longer employed up there. So that's what they looking to do. But it's a different mentality. They got the quarterback. When you got the quarterback, you always feel like you in it. And that's what we thought when we had 7 here.
What if Allen wants out?
Yeah, if he wants out, there's a different convo. The difference is I don't see any of Bills Mafia from my eyes ever talking bad about him with his squad. They always be like, yo, They were last night. All right, but hey, it was a heck of a game. We fought like a son of a gun. We'll be back. We'll be back. They ain't nobody talking no blow up. We'll be back. We'll be back. It's the optimism. Whereas, thus Pittsburgh, man, we're a little bit different because we got more of a track record of winning. So it's like, yeah, we don't get moved by that right now. We get moved by, did you win the championship or not? Buffalo, they still in like that fun stage of, oh man, that was crazy. Let's do it again. Oh shoot, that was crazy. All right, let's do it again. Oh man, they did it again. All right, let's do it again. Hey man, okay, all right, man, we'll run it back. Let's do it again. Like that's the approach. So, it definitely helps with like the mood. I tell you that. Otherwise, I would have came in here like Darth Vader. Like I used, man, everything suck, bro. I just hate it all, man. I don't want to do nothing. Everybody bad, just all bad. Blow it up. That ain't my energy, man.
We got Flow Ground 420. Field's been in the league 5 years. You read that. I'm going backwards. Definitely going backwards here.
But I say, because you just did the Joe Gervis. I think you had another Joe.
He says, 2 gives us the ability to help the O-line grow because of the escapability and have growing pains with it, but without the weapons, the O can't progress to expectations. I like that. I like that little follow. I like that little explanation for his initial take. I think that's fair.
That's real. I always say we look at it, if you're a Fields guy, you're going to look at all that as positive, and there are a lot of positives in what you're saying with that. The downside, though, to the scrambling quarterback or the more mobile quarterback is it does make it a little bit challenging at times for the offensive line because that guy doesn't always sit at the spot he's supposed to or the ball isn't always coming out like it's supposed to. So there are pros and cons to it, but if a guy is going to blatantly miss a block or get beat, the thought process or the theory is, man, at least I got a dude that's athletic enough that maybe he can make this guy miss. And that's what we're hoping. He can make a miss and have good decision-making and all the other stuff included. But that still is the question mark with it. But there are some times where I know as pass rushers, you prefer to rush against the mobile quarterback because he's not going to sit on that spot and get that ball out on time. He will move around a little bit and sometimes evade himself into harm's way, so to speak, man. So, like I said, that's the only thing that I would caution with that. But like I said, it's definitely a ton of positives with it, though, man.
AJ Martinez says the organization should have groomed Rudolph as a rookie. We would still have a quarterback. He says selfish 7 and no QB guru. How can we neglect the most important QB1?
Why you gotta be selfish?
Rudolph had his chance in 2019.
Was he groomed though?
Had his chance.
He said we should have groomed him. That wasn't groomed. That was a rip the Band-Aid off, take an opportunity. That wasn't groomed.
He got to learn under a legend.
He said groom, not learn. You know the difference between grooming and learning, Deke.
Brett Favre didn't necessarily provide Aaron Rodgers the greatest of mentorships.
We ain't say Aaron Rodgers and Favre. We talking about Mason and 7.
It looks like Aaron Rodgers ended up all right, huh?
We talking about Mason and 7. What does that got to do with them?
Not necessarily 7's job.
No, that's probably why AJ feel it. That what it sounds like.
Not selfish 7.
Yeah, that's why.
Actually, it's not selfish 7. I think Ben said on his podcast, it's like last year. I think it was when the Mason buzz was happening that 7 did reach out to me. He tried to help him, but it looked like Mason wanted to do things his own way.
I think a lot of people could understand that.
Yeah, so I think 7 said his piece about it, that he was open to helping, but Mason had his own approach to things. And I think, too, we're overlooking the fact that 7 was actually teaching him, just not in the way that people would traditionally like or traditionally deem as acceptable. And that
spin that Jedi talk,
yeah,
D. Let me hear.
That's making Mason learn through
tough love. Man, I can't.
Tough love and learning on your own, as they say. So it would prepare Mason for the Christmas Eve game against the Bengals last year when the season was on the line. Mason needed to go through that.
Talk that talk.
To be mentally ready for that situation.
You better talk that talk, bro.
Save Christmas and save the Steelers 2023 season for us.
There it is. 7 set all that up, bro.
He did.
He set all that up, man.
Yep.
Respect the 7.
We forget about that. Mason was, out of all the quarterbacks in the room last year, Mason was the only one with a direct lineage to 7.
Yeah.
He was the only one that got to learn the true Steeler way from one of the legends, one of the greats.
There it is.
So not surprised with how.
I like how
we shouldn't have been as surprised as
like
how everything played out
Yeah, he
with
said,
Mason last
you
year.
in the vicinity, you breathe in the same air as that man right there, you going to learn something.
Mason,
You'll
he
figure
had to
something
go
out.
through his
I
own
can dig
struggles. 2019, being the backup for a couple more years, coming in against the Lions after Ben had COVID, tie that game.
He ran somebody over that game, too. I'd never forget that one.
Yeah,
Drop
so
that thing on.
I think AJ's just off on this comment here, trying to blame Seven for Mason Rudolph's shortcomings. It's disrespectful to Seven.
Hey, Deke, only you could do that, bro. Only you get that one. Bro.
Very disrespectful.
Shout out to the homie. Shout out to Deke. Y'all hit that like button one time for Deke. And definitely subscribe, man, if you're new to the channel, all right? We rock with the Steelers, and we definitely rock with Seven over here, all right? So
How about the
shout out.
organization? Maybe giving Seven another year or two and giving him a better O-line. How about that?
They was trying. They tried.
They didn't try at all.
They did try. They went to the draft well. Now, was it the best thing that came out of that well? Probably not. But they went to it. They went to the well. They did do it.
Could have drafted Creed Humphrey in the first round.
This is also true. Both things could be true.
It's pathetic. No QB guru, he says too.
Who has a QB? Does Seven have a QB guru? I thought Seven was just Seven. Because you hear about, was it? Now
He's saying no QB guru for Mason. I could say the same thing about Pickett then. We didn't have a QB guru for him. It was Canada. Come on. We didn't do Kenny right. He didn't help himself, but we definitely didn't set up Kenny for success. Like, if he got an opportunity with the Eagles here, he'd play fine. I keep saying that. We've got to see it, but again, he got hurt. That's his biggest problem. If he gets traded to the Rams and like Stafford retires or something, he goes to like a good organization, like good structure, good offense pieces. He's gonna play good. He just gotta stay healthy.
I like it, bro. You know, I like it.
We clearly didn't have a McVay here.
I'm trying to see how this thing gonna play out. You keep bringing up the Rams. I'm like, do you know something? Why you keep bringing them up? I'm like, are they tired of Stafford? Stafford just had them looking all right.
No, I saw a headline. Yeah. No, that's even with Stafford coming back. I could see where like they could bring in Kenny to be the backup and maybe be the guy once Stafford retires, like after a year or so. That would make sense.
Shout out, because like I said, if that is the approach, then I think that does.
Well,
make
Eagles would.
Yeah,
I think
but they would have to trade him.
Tanner McKee as their backup for sure. Because why wouldn't he just stay with the Eagles as their backup?
Because Kenny still has a year left on this deal.
One more.
One more, so they don't have to pick up the option.
No.
Yeah, because this is his third year right now. So yeah, so they wouldn't have to touch anything. But and if you're the Rams and you wanted to make the move for him, it's kind of like what we did with Justin Fields. We made the trade, swap late picks, but we don't have to pick up the option, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So that good.
If you're looking just for something more towards the future when Stafford retires, as opposed to having like a Jimmy G back there or something.
Yeah. Or if you want to do kind of like we were talking about with the who do you want to give an opportunity to compete against if you're one of these other teams. So you're drafting a young quarterback. Maybe Kenny's the guy that you bring in as the backup / maybe if he is the better guy early on in the season, he's the guy that's starting. Yeah. Like you kind of got like the Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy. Yeah. Sam Darnold going to Minnesota at that time wasn't viewed as how Sam Darnold is viewed right now. This is a $30-40 million how they talk about Sam. Where's that Sam? It was like, oh, all right. If you think what you saw in San Fran was good, then maybe he can, sustain this as a backup. But no one thought he would do what he did. Now it was draft J.J. McCarthy. Let's see how this thing plays out. So to me, I mean, I can see Kenny being in a similar situation. And if it works out where it is an injury, now he, kind of gets the keys to the car. And it could be a nice car like we saw with Sam Darnold. And that has definitely shifted how people are viewing him now. Yeah, as it goes into this offseason. I mean, he's a guy that we're gonna talk about, and I'm sure the team gonna talk about at some point if they can't get deals done with Russ or Fields. You know it. You know they would. They're gonna bring him up in the convo. But I do like the fact that they want to stick with the in-house options first, because it's like, we've already had both of that here or both of those dudes here, so now. If we can continue to have that continuity and have somebody take that second year leap with the scheme, it's like, which one do we think that can be? Hopefully they choose wisely with that. But I do like the fact that they are at least saying that they want that as priority versus if the messaging was, we ready to go out there and spend big on a free agent quarterback. We can't wait. We're going to be aggressive players in the free agency market with one of these dudes, or we might trade for them. Like, I ought to get a little bit more nervous that way. But right now, I kind of like where we going.
I just wanted to read one of the worst takes I've seen in a while.
Talk to me, D. What it say now?
Remix this Kyle McCord over Kenny. That's just terrible.
Kyle McCord over Kenny.
That's a terrible take. You see, Kyle McCord couldn't cut it at Ohio State. They had to get rid of him, bring in Will Howard.
They trying to play you, man.
Yeah,
they trying to play you, man. You know they can't just have like normal. Hey, Kenny needs to be better here. It's like they got to go all the way, and it's like, all right, bro.
No, people are trying to give Kyle McCord some draft buzz right now, saying that he could go second, late first, or something like that. It's crazy to me. I got to witness him throw 5 picks against Pitt this year.
Yeah,
couldn't cut it at Ohio State. Goes to Syracuse.
As I say, that I don't agree with that one. I think I would be more open to the Will Howard combo.
Absolutely,
I'd be way more open.
Yeah,
to that.
why the hell should Kyle McCord be getting drafted over Will Howard?
Yeah, I'm like,
why?
If I had to choose.
Absolutely, I'm with you. Yeah. If we wanted to take a flyer on a quarterback in the second round, I'd go Will Howard. Yeah, honestly, outside of Shedeur and Cam Ward, I would just pick Will Howard.
Like, that's kind of where I'm at least as we sit here today, the 27th of J, where it's like we'll obviously dive into him more.
Because Rooney did say something about trying to look at quarterback in either this draft or next draft.
Yeah.
So that could be an option.
And I think of those guys you name, Will, Shedeur, and Cam, Will is the realistic, like, available option as well without us having to ransom the future to jump into a top 10, top 5 for one of them other dudes. It's like, yeah.
AJ Martinez says, shout out to chat, Diggler, and 5'2". LOL, come on 5'5", red and blue in the black and gold pod. No. If we go with 3, 11 and 6,
okay,
2 will be a bust or take us to the Super Bowl.
I think that's real. Honestly, AJ, I don't like when you do like that, man, because I can actually agree with a lot of that. And yes, the reason why you do see blue and red on the Steelers podcast is because I figured y'all was going to talk bad about me anyways. Y'all was going to come in here and talk fly. I knew y'all couldn't wait to get up here and be like, hey, Mo, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, where your Bills good? So I figured I'd just lead into it. You know, that's what I do it all. And the same way when the Steelers season ended, I had my black and gold gear on. Bills season ended before I put blue red gear on. You feel me? I had my Steelers pack for the season lit. I had my Bills pack for the season lit. Now I'm about to have this here. I hate all football days for just like the next like week and a half pack lit, and then I'll be good to go at that. I'll be all to be back recharged. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but that's what it is. But in terms of the 11 and 6 with Russ, yeah, that's the super safe, the high floor element of it. But at the same time, you have concerns about what that 11 and 6 gets you in the playoffs in terms of who are you matching up with, who are you going on the road to deal with, or does that win you the division? In terms of Phils, yeah, the boom or bust element is prevalent because if he develops like Deke is hoping or anticipating he could develop, then yeah, you got the guy. And if you got the guy, you are just like any of these Final Four teams that we just saw playing this weekend. But if he doesn't develop into that and it reverts back to what we saw when it was the Chicago element, then yeah, we're going to feel like we busted on that. And a year from now, we'll be having the same convo of, all right, well, do we give him another season or do we draft somebody? Or is there another marquee free agent, a veteran dude that we might consider? So I think all of those things would be at play. But yeah, I could definitely see the boom and bust with Phil's and the level of security that you feel with Russ, but also the cap that you could also be feeling with him as well, man. All that's real.
Flugger on 420. If we're going to take a chance on somebody, why not in the draft? I'm big on Jackson Dart or maybe even Will Howard.
Yeah, we like that Will Howard talk. Jackson Dart, that name keep popping up. Yeah.
No on him. Trust me. No.
Because his Senior Bowl starting. That was this week. Those dudes are down there right now doing the interviews and stuff, practicing. So, yeah.
AJ Martinez, 3-2-2 going to the Raiders, and they beat KC in the AFC Championship.
He said 3-2-2. Ugh. Package deal. That'd be his Marshawn.
I'm for that. Go for it. 100%.
They have success. Pete know what he doing.
Juice Bellamy, trade for Olave or Garrett Wilson. Start Fields, Ohio State. Yeah, okay, I like that move. Actually, trade for them both.
He said make it a Buckeye offensive skill position room.
Trade for them both.
Nah.
I don't mind that. Do we keep Pickens?
Oh, good call. Yeah, good call with that.
I would literally.
You can't. I don't think you could trade for both of them dudes and keep GP. That ain't gonna work.
How about this? How about we trade everyone we got in the receiver room, or get rid of everyone, and bring in Olave, Wilson, and Pickens? That's our top 3.
What are we giving up to get Olave, and then what are we giving up to specifically get Wilson? Because I feel like, man, I like it, and I'll be all for it, but I feel like we're gonna have to give up a lot. Yeah, I don't think what you offered when you exclude GP is enough for both of them. Maybe one, but because I was like, oh, you throw Calvin and some draft picks, maybe it's like, all right, boom, we'll get Garrett Wilson. But it's like, so who you giving up for Olave? Can I get you shooting a Roman Wilson and another draft pick, please?
It's just Olave's too small. That's my problem.
You want big bodies. I could dig that.
And Garrett Wilson ain't that big. He does play big, though.
Yeah.
Where like I would want to keep Pickens around.
But wouldn't we feel that both of those guys are better complementary pieces in terms of their route running element? Whereas GP is more the big body, I'm going to just Debo you to go get that rock.
Yeah.
Like as a compliment, you know what I mean? So it's not, we just got
are we trading
big,
for one of these guys and then bringing in T. Higgins? I want a Higgins or a Pickens for sure.
Okay.
I want one of those guys.
I do agree. I think big body, elite type of catch radius receiver is major beneficial to whatever quarterback, whether you bring in Fields back or Russ back. I think that does help them out in a major way. But I still think we're going to need another one of them dudes. I kind of lean more to the route runner because I'm a fan of the AB and Martavis approach. I'm a fan of the Deontay Johnson with the GP or with the Claypool approach, where I feel like I have the guy that I can give me the volume targets, but I also got I don't have to care about anything. I can get active down the field with this guy. And if you think about even the A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith approach, now both of those dudes have shown that they can win the deep plays, but they can also win with the route running in terms of the slants, the digs, and some of that type of stuff. But to me, I just think that I would want that compliment. If I'm going to have my big body GP or my big body Devontae Adams, my big body whoever we, put T. Higgins, if that's the guy, I kind of like having that option of, this is a win now. Even in T. Higgins, you still got a Jamar Chase over there who's what? That's the win now guy. That's the volume guy. That's the guy that Burrow is going, But at the same time, if he needs to, he can always go to T. Higgins, and T can give him that big body, just throw it up and let him go up there and make a play type thing. So I just think if we can get that type of combo, that type of tandem out there, regardless of if it's GP as that guy or if it's somebody else that is his body type, to me, I think that would be, that like effective, offense type approach.
We still need a third guy to step up.
We do. If we could keep Calvin Austin, I love it. I think Calvin Austin is a high end 3. Based on what we saw this year, I think that I would trust that a lot as my 3.
Well, I'd probably want like
I trust it a lot as my 3.
Between these two, I'd want Garrett Wilson then, because Olave is small, like Calvin Austin, not as small as Calvin Austin, but
he Ohio State.
At least
small.
Garrett Wilson, I think Garrett Wilson, he's probably like 5'11", 6 foot. He plays big.
They're built like Deontay. They're more of that style. Like,
but you could throw the ball on the field with Wilson. He's a little bit more physical. He'll like Moss guys and have some like crazy acrobatic catches.
Yeah.
If we want to stick with Calvin, I guess you got him and Roman Wilson working the slot.
Yeah, Roman's
we need another receiver. Either
Roman's the outlier right now. We'll see what Roman looks like. Obviously, we don't have a ton of info on Roman because he wasn't really available to us to play this year. But if Calvin Austin is any indicator, think about how we felt about Calvin Austin these past, last year, this year, and it's like, we felt like he really, made some strides and was productive. So the hope is Roman Wilson is almost like a bonus draft pick this year when he comes back. But we obviously got to see him come back and play and live up to it. But I kind of am holding out hope that we can hit that again because it definitely worked with Calvin Austin.
Right. He was supposed to be a second-round pick. Ran 4.4. Yeah, I mean, I was excited about Roman Wilson. Still am.
With you? Yeah, heck yeah. Like, we didn't see bad Roman Wilson. We didn't see him at all. See Roman Wilson. That's like, there's a difference between like, you come out here and you're a bust because you're playing bad versus we just haven't seen you weren't healthy. We'll give you a year of not being healthy. You just can't have 2 years not being healthy because now we're going to be like, you're injury prone. And that changes how we view you as well. And now we're going to be over here like, we really got to go shopping. Whereas right now, it's still kind of up in the air.
AJ Martinez says, well, it's the boss's fault. Pay for a super team.
I mean,
Now, there are salary caps.
I was about to say. Like, it's just pay for what you want to pay for, and everybody's available to you. Like,
There are salary caps, but that's on Omar Khan then to finagle the money to where maybe you can have a super team for the short term, and obviously you're going to have to pay for it later, but the salary cap just keeps going up. So maybe there's less risk in doing that than what it has been in the past. We did leave, I think it was $6 or $7 million out on the table, though. That could have been the money to get a Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Literally, we could have. I think the difference between Najee and Derrick Henry's contract, Najee's getting like $3 or $4 million. Derrick Henry got 10.
I mean, realistically, if we wanted to get Saquon, we could have got him too.
Yeah, there you go.
If we were really going to do it, we could.
There you go.
There's nothing holding us back from either one of them.
Right there. Either way, I think Derrick Henry just made more sense to me at the time. With
His
Arthur
style
Smith being here,
fits more of what we want to do.
Right.
Arthur Smith. I don't think Saquon has the type of season he's having in Philly. I don't think he has that here. I think he's still explosive and still dominant, but I don't think it's the same type. I think Derrick Henry, it isn't as loud as Baltimore, but I think it's
keeping
still
him away from the Ravens too.
Yeah, that big time, but I still think he's a 1,300 type of dude, even with our offense. It's just when you put them in those offenses where they have the explosive pass element, that's the game changer. That's the cheat code, and that's why both Saquon and Henry had historic years. I mean, Derrick had 1,900 yards. It's like, yo, if it wasn't for Saquon going as crazy as he did, Derrick Henry's the talk of the town. But because Saquon was so loud, and then because the postseason, and he is still getting louder and louder because they keep winning and he keeps showing up in these bigger games, that's why it's, more on the Saquon element. But both of them dudes had heck of seasons, and we definitely could have paid for both of those guys. They weren't $20 million dudes, not even $15 million dudes.
No,
you see what I mean? Like, one's with 12, one's 10.
We obviously would have moved off of Najee, most likely.
Yeah.
I think
we didn't want to, and that was the part of it.
You used whatever you're paying Najee right there. That's at $3 million plus $7 million we have sitting out there. All right, that's $10 million of money that we could have used to get Barkley or Henry. And Henry's contract at the time was $10 million. It was like $1 million or $2 million in incentives. Now Barkley, I think his was
Barkley was 12 going on 13 or something like that.
Yeah, 12 or 13 million a year. So a little bit more, but my God,
because Barkley's deal was like the Josh Jacobs deal, where it was like only X amount of it is fully guaranteed, but it's like you still have some of the incentive stuff as well with it. So
right. Yeah. Joey Weaver, the Jesse James catch, more of a catch than Worthy's.
Hey, yeah, I don't even want to think about that one. That was different. That was different. They say, is it interception, completion, or incompletion? Who has possession?
They would have got it at like the 20 anyway because the penalty, right?
Mm-hmm. I was like, all right. Shoot, it was a couple of things that went crazy this weekend, though. Obviously, that part. But what about this? If you keep jumping over the line of scrimmage, we can award the offense with the touchdown.
I like that.
I ain't like that. I was like, hold on, why you want to do that?
It's like you're just stalling out the game now.
You could literally
do that every play.
And I was going to say,
the game would go into eternity.
Keep doing it. Snap the ball. Why you keep going for it on two? Onus on both of them, man, isn't it? No? All right.
Absolutely not.
I'm like, man, snap it on. Hey, you can snap it on one. It's a penalty. You got your yardage. It's a penalty. I'd have to see them. They go out there and award that touchdown, man. Yeah. I like Frankie, though.
Who gets it?
That's the other part. Who you awarding to?
The center just gets it. The center would just get it.
He's ineligible, isn't he?
I don't know.
How's he going to say, I don't like that? No, the fact that the ref could just basically say, yo, y'all doing too much of this, touchdown for them. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that.
Hollywood 931, where does Texas massage places the best place to point Spags for that type of job? Yeah, Deke, I'm going to let you get that one.
Oh, no parts of that one, Deke. That's you. You get that one. Yep.
AJ Martinez. So why did 7 only win one ring with Tomlin? Viva 7.
Hey, shout out to 7. There it is. Shout out to 7. Heck yeah. That's how you follow up whatever that was. I don't know what you was on Hollywood.
AJ Martinez's remix, Goatness, Stan Frank, and X1's Concepts.
Let's go.
AJ Martinez says, respect, love, and blessings to the chat. The Cheetah rules. SOS.
Shout out. I like it.
Cliff the Dark Knight says sign Russ and draft Milroe, or sign Fields and Mason.
I've been seeing the Milroe name, man. It's more and more. It's intriguing. Milroe is intriguing.
It is. I'm not gonna front, but the only way I think it's a feasible option is if you go into the draft with no quarterbacks.
I don't know. That's risky. I like
and
it.
I'm not even sold on Milroe to begin with. I don't even think he's that good.
I don't like that approach all the way.
He has the upside though. He's got the arm talent. He's got the legs for sure.
You
but
don't see.
We were saying the same stuff about with Anthony Richardson.
This is true.
But Milroe way more proven in college. That's why that's why I'm even entertaining it a little bit more.
But some might say
I don't think
you
he's that
haven't
good.
seen him.
Or I'm questioning how good he is.
But some would also say you haven't seen bad NFL tape from him yet. You haven't seen him not be able to do it. So what if he comes in and it's like the Bo Nix as you're at the young stage, nothing to unlearn. Let me teach you how I want you to play the game. Whereas we obviously know with some of the guys we've been naming, they're retreads. Even with Phil, it's a retread. So it's like they might feel like, I could want to go completely brand new. And I also reset the clock on when I got to pay one of these guys as well if I go with the Jalen Milroe approach in comparison to Fields or Russ, where we know you're either paying one dude a multi-year deal or you are spending a block on another 1-year deal with the hope that they can develop, and now you pay him again, and now you only got that for 1 year on top of it, so you still didn't get the full let me take advantage of these 4 to 5 years of having cheap labor at the quarterback position. So that's the other appeal to the Jalen Milroe part. But it just depends on how close you think he is to where Fields is and how close you think either one of those guys are to get into the Jalen Hurts, the Lamar Jacksons of the world.
I think Fields is closer. I think Fields is more talented. I think that's why I would just go with Fields.
I'd agree. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Like I look at Milroe as Fields just further removed from the development. I'm like, I've already seen Fields have to get development from hard lessons in Chicago. I saw him get lessons the first 6 games here in Pittsburgh. All of this work has been the accumulation of why we feel so much more confident about him this go around than we did a year ago. With Milroe, I still am going to have a lot of questions about, are you even good enough at this level? And then how long does it take for you to actually put it together at this level? And then on top of that, you got to stay healthy, because we know when you're talking that dual threat, we're going to see, can your body hold up versus some of these dudes at this level as well? It's just a lot of variables that Justin Fields has already checked off those boxes. So granted, I know I'm only going to get the 1 year of the medium level compensation for the position before I would have to fully invest in a Justin Fields. But to me, if I'm going to go with that style quarterback, I'd rather go Fields.
Yeah, if you're going for upside, you're going for future. Yeah. Just give Fields the chance.
Yeah.
Because depending on what way I wouldn't even be opposed if the organization said me personally, I want to see Fields given the chance. But if the organization said we're just cleaning house,
okay,
and going into the draft with no quarterback, or at least no quarterback that we actually want to start for us for next season, then okay, it's just you gotta let us know that that's the plan, and that's not how Rooney or anyone's talking. We're gonna at least try to win games again next year and do all. You know what I mean? Because the Milroe approach is like they
want to be competitive.
The Milroe approach is like you're really admitting that you're willing for this thing to go to 4 wins, 5 wins, 6 wins. Yeah. Right.
The Steelers,
they're not going to do
that.
Not good. They're not doing that. No.
I could see them drafting Milroe if they kept Russ as
well.
Hell,
after what Ben retired, we signed Mitch.
That's what I'm saying. Think about it. 7 gets hurt and they traded the first round pick to go get Mika. They ain't wait on anything.
They would have had every right, in my opinion, to not sign Mitch, because we already had Mason and Haskins here.
Yeah.
You could just not sign Mitch and drafted a guy to be your third quarterback.
They want to.
They're going to want to have something.
Absolutely.
So if we do sign Fields, now the Russ, if it's Russ,
I can see them drafting Milroe. Because that's Justin Fields again, man. But now I got you cheap labor, and I reset the clock for the next 4 years. If I don't take you in the first as well,
I was gonna say, I wouldn't
want
to be in the first. I wouldn't want to be
because you could get him in the second. If you take Milroe in the second, you bring Russ back. I got my veteran leader, who we also know is the good guy, right? I did the air quotes, but we know you're not ever worried about him being a pariah or being weird towards the young guy. So you feel good about that. You got your Justin Fields body type in the sense of dynamic arm, dynamic legs. You're coming from a big program as well at Bama where he was the guy for the past 2 seasons. We've seen him look good, but we've also seen where, we got question marks on him. But I could definitely see that as an alternative approach if they did go with Russ again. Whereas if they go with Fields, I don't think there is a need to bring in Miller. I think that that's almost too heavy-handed of the same style and 2 younger players at the same time. Yeah. If I'm Justin Fields, I might be looking like, hey, is this for me or is this as like my backup or what is this? Like, because I'm not far enough here where the cachet is above reproach. And if it's a $10 million deal, we've seen league-wide, $10 to $15 million, they still drafting first-round quarterbacks when you pay your quarterback that. I mean, we did that even with Mitch. It was like, all right, Mitch, you take this. Come here, Kenny.
It would be like the Vikings doing McCarthy
and
man. Sam Darnold, though. So it's not like it hasn't been done before because you're just trying to find the answer quarterback one way or another.
I would agree. I just think that from the way that it's perceived from my eyes, I think we still view Justin Fields as more of a legitimate option, whereas I think when Minnesota went and took Sam Darnold in free agency, I think that they were looking at him as like, this is a safety net, but we don't think he is the guy potentially. And that's why they went and drafted JJ when they did. It just so happened that JJ gets hurt. Sam plays the way that he does, and now it's a way different perspective on him. We look at Fields like, we think you're closer to being the guy than not the guy. Hence the reason why we feel like, we having them convos and why Mr. Rooney and Coach T are still talking the way they're talking. Whereas I don't necessarily feel like Sam Darnold was viewed like that on the front end of him going to Minnesota.
Right. Yeah. Where would you rank Miller right now, top of your head?
Let's see. Talent-wise, off the top of my head, and I'm not including – because obviously I put Shador and Cam at the top two. I think talent-wise, I like him as the third dude. Just knee-jerk reaction. But I think from there – I'm definitely going to like certain things that I saw from Will Howard based on that game. I want to watch more of the Jackson Dart kid. That's what's about to happen starting next week now that I have off-season time, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to probably – I think you go Cam Ward and Shador. I probably put Cam Ward in 1. And then I think 3 Will Howard. And then
Will is in there, yeah.
And then,
I like what I saw from Will,
I think I would have Milrow. It'd be like Milrow for him versus like I guess Quinn Ewers. Those would be the only.
Yeah, I like Milrow over Ewers.
I think I would. Yeah, more upside.
Yeah. And when we're talking about who has the traits of the unicorns, right? What are the unicorns? The Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens, the dual threat dudes, the Jalen Hurts, the Jaden Daniels. It's like, who is closer to that? To me, Milrow is closer to that than Quinn Ewers is. And so that's the reason why, for me, I would put Milrow. And like I said, I saw you at Bama. I saw you have to play in some big games. I saw you have to play in some big moments. And you also stepped up and made some crazy plays in some of them big moments, too. You weren't carried. You were a guy. But we also know that you're a little bit of a wild card.
I think he's a little like Hurts coming out.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So it's like,
But Milrow's got more talent.
Yeah.
He's got more talent than Hurts.
I think he's a more explosive runner than Hurts.
He cleaned up his game more in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's definitely more upside with Milrow.
So that's the part for me where I'm intrigued by Milrow, and that's why I kind of threw out, if we went back with Russ, I'm open to and probably would want them to bring in a Milrow in that second, because now I feel like I still have my Fields / my long-term potential option, but I feel like we invested pedigree in it. It's not just some run-of-the-mill backup, but at the same time, I'm not forcing it to have to come out here and play week 1 when I don't necessarily know if it's all the way ready for that. But I think, man, having a Russ there, that's going to help him with the film study. That's going to help him learn how to be a professional. It's going to help him learn how to be a leader. Low kid, I want that Russ on that 1 year of guaranteed money. I don't care how long the deal would be, just 1 year of guaranteed money, if you catch what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think.
But that's if we go that way.
Yeah, I think in a way, yeah, you're admitting then like Milrow's going to be the future. Russ is the stopgap.
You see what I mean? Like, it can be a 3-year, whatever amount of money, but as long as it's less than 30 mil or 30 or less guaranteed, and that's the year one element of it, then I'm like, all right, this is good. So if Russ turns the clock back and he's magically the guy again, great. We still got you under contract. But worst case, if it's what we think it could be, and more than likely probably would be, it's like, all right, we know we got the other thing already here, and it's already been sitting around learning from you, sitting in the system as well, learning from Arthur Smith. Culturally, we know what you're doing, you're buying into. We feel good about you being a Bama guy. We know how Bama guys are, whether it was Naj or Minka. So it's like we feel good about your overall makeup, what you bring to it. And now, when it's time to turn it over, we can turn it over to him. Like, I don't hate that. Risky still, though.
All I'm saying is if we're doing all that,
just
just bring back Justin Fields. If we're going to be doing all that, just bring back Fields for $10 million. Give him the chance. Doesn't work out, I think you got next year's draft to find that guy.
Unless they really like Milroe, though. Because if they feel like Milroe is that guy, then that would be the approach they would take.
Well, you're going to have to make a decision on Fields or Russ before the Milroe stuff. Yeah. But all I'm saying is, like, you bring Fields in, the $10 million, then you got your first round pick, your second round pick to still try to build up that team around him. And Fields doesn't work, I think you have a more ready-made team for the quarterback next year, hopefully. And that too, you could reset the clock even on the coordinate. You could reset the clock on everything then where it's all together, as opposed to it's kind of weird now. And then it's like
we like at that.
If we're going your approach, if we're going with your approach, Russ is the stopgap and Milroe's learning under Arthur Smith. If it doesn't work out, we move off Arthur Smith. Whole new thing. Who knows? Yeah. Same thing. Even if Milroe was the guy his rookie year. It's like, do we move off of Smith as the coordinator after rookie year? But that doesn't do any service to your young quarterback.
Yeah. But if we feel like Arthur Smith gets the job done, then we're feeling a lot more confident in it. All of these, like,
that's why I think Fields is Fields is just the easiest way to do all this.
Easy-ish, yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean the highest probability of success. And I think that that's what the team is winning. They want to make sure that when they put all 10, 20 scenarios down, that the one that has the highest probability of getting them a championship, while also the highest probability of getting them their long-term answer at quarterback, while also the answer for what's going to help us win right now. I think whoever gives them the highest percentages and all of that to their eyes, that's the guy that they're going to go with. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what we're, like I say, continue to talk through. For them, though, it could be multiple ways of that, though. They might look at that Russ with the Milroe or the Fields, and it'd be Fields and bringing a Zach Wilson in here. It's like, that might be their approach because they feel like, Fields is definitely the guy, but we feel like Wilson, it's a different type of option. But, hey, it's a high pedigree guy, kind of like what we did when we drafted Kenny, but we still had a Mason. We had Dwayne Haskins in here as well. We were shooting at first rounder, and hoping that one of the three could be that type of guy.
Just go with Fields. Trayton Bingo says, why don't we try to get Witherspoon back?
Oh, that's your man. Yeah, Kello. Nah. Play well.
Yeah. Yep. Steelers go over to the Rams, play better. We get former Rams, they play worse.
It's kind of like that. I can understand that. I can't remember. Did we get this one from Justin Gordon? It says Justin Fields has 3 years and 6 games to show the world he's one of the guys, yet there's still questions, ?
I didn't see that. I don't have that here.
All right. Yeah, that's what Justin Gordon basically says. What Justin Fields has had 3 years and 6 games to show the world he's one of the guys, yet there's still questions. And he's asking, like, I guess, why there's still questions is what he's asking.
Well, I think most of those questions were directed towards him going into like last offseason, coming into 2024. That's where most of the questions about him were. So he only got 6 games this year, and I think he answered a lot for me at least. That's why, again, I'm talking about rolling with Fields in 2025. I was wondering if he could play winning football, if he could play within a structure. not turn the ball over as much, and he proved that. So it's like I'm willing to keep giving him a chance here, see if he can take it up another level, because he only got 6 games. Like, that's the thing. Like, all those questions you're talking about, it's like 3 years and 6 games. Sure, I was talking about all those questions, but he did get that opportunity for 6 games here, and I think he showed me a lot.
Yeah, I agree, man. I thought that he showed a ton. I also thought that the questions that still remain aren't questions because of anything Justin Fields did or did not do.
I think at this point it's just lack of opportunity.
Yeah, it was lack of opportunity.
Because he was deserving in any other scenario to finish out that season.
But because of the Russ element, that's the game changer. That's what made it unique, and we actually saw how that played out. But to me, I think that with Justin Fields, like, the questions are just, can you do what we saw you do for 6 games, for 17 games? And if you can, then you've successfully developed into one of the guys. You started off in a way that looked like you could be, but Russ is a prime example of what he did this year. He also had a 6 game where it looked pretty daggone good, and then we saw what it looked like on the back end. So there isn't a guarantee that if you expand the sample size, the averages are going to remain the same. Like I said, typically it's the reverse effect of that. But with Justin Fields, man, he did answer a lot of them questions that we had from Chicago. Can you protect the football? That was a big question that I had. In terms of his overall footwork, could he be a little bit more consistent when he was dropping back and when he was just going through his progressions as a passer of the football? Not saying he was perfect, but he did in them 6 games look a lot better, a lot more consistent. His decision-making looked better, and like you said, double-digit touchdowns. What were the turnovers? So that's the other element that, to me, I thought Fields did a heck of a job of putting himself in this position, and that's why, even a year later, with him only playing in 6 games last year, or starting 6 games last season, he's heavily a part of the conversation about, do you make him the guy next year, or do you go back with Russ, or do you go to the field? That's a testament to Justin Fields' development. That's a testament to what he did last season. So I don't look at, these remaining questions as an indictment on Justin. And even when you hear me speaking, the way that me and you were talking about it, it's like, these aren't questions because I don't believe in them. No, it's just when you're talking about with that next level and can you get there, it's like, yo, these are legitimate questions, man. He has the traits, though. That's the one thing that you can't deny. He has the traits.
Right. Skirt says, thoughts on running back Scatterbo to Pittsburgh, a 3rd rounder. I do like his game.
Okay. Is it explosive enough?
It's a good question.
Because that's our hope. We're not trying to just find, like, I feel like Najee been that.
Oh, this guy's way shiftier than Najee. Yeah, in terms of more explosive than Najee, absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely that. Yeah, he's interesting. He's definitely interesting. I think he'd be a good combo with Warren. Definitely more of like a bruising style.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed.
I like it. And he did say 3rd round, so that's positive as well.
Yeah,
like we talking about earlier.
Something like that.
Yeah, 3rd is early enough, but it's not 1st or 2nd round.
I'd still want another guy in here too. I'd want either ban a candidate. Maybe you draft another guy in the 6th or 7th round. Okay. Just load up on running backs. May the best man win.
What was the man from Ohio State? I gotta go back and look at him, man.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah, but they say here, man, the one with the super short pants. Yeah, it's like that one looked fast. I like that one. Anyone that looks fast right now, yeah. What about young Etienne? Ain't that one coming out of Georgia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, what about little Etienne? They got a little juice.
Not as good.
But we not take him in the 1st. And he's a part of the Warren-led backfill. Whereas big Etienne is Etienne's backfill. This is like it's Warren plus little Etienne.
AJ Martinez, 7 should still be on the team. Sabotage 7 lives.
Talk about it. There it is.
Maybe not this year. Maybe this is the year he decides to retire. I think the last
you funny.
Or no. I'm sorry. Maybe not this year. No, it would have been
last year when he started. When he got into the podcast heavy.
I think it would have been last year in terms of like give Ben Kenny's rookie year, give Ben Kenny's 2nd year. I think that would have been. I think it would have been right.
Yeah, he basically said like no Kenny, and would have been good.
I mean, that's
You
not what
kind
I'm
of
getting
said
at.
it, but you ain't said, but you kind of
Well,
said. He was like, take Kenny's first and second.
The Kenny thing's irrelevant because all the Kenny takes, all the other takes after Ben retired are irrelevant to me because I said we should roll with 7 for another year. So
any Kenny take is Kenny, was it Ben AD, right? Or AB7 after Ben 7. You know what I mean? Like, I got you. I'm with you. I follow it. I follow the flow.
Right. If I had it my way, we wouldn't have drafted.
Yeah.
Like, we would have had 7 back. We would have actually drafted him a center. We would have had a good O-line around him. Had Pickens.
At the time, you was kind of sold on Kendrick Green on draft night. When we said, this guy, he was like, all right. We all said the same thing because we didn't know who Kendrick was. We was like,
I was
all right.
excited about him.
And they said he was the best one coming out. We was like, all right.
I'm also not getting paid to pick Kendrick Green in the third round.
Me either. I'm with you. So that's why I'm innocent like you were innocent.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I said too at the time, like, I think we're gonna pick Najee. I do like Najee. It's cool, but I don't think this is the smartest move to be drafting a running back in the first round. Like, if you're a GM, maybe you shouldn't just be going for the thing that is gonna excite the fans or just you feel like is the hole that you need to fill in the offense. Just because we didn't have James Conner anymore, so probably smarter to go O-lineman. Still smarter to go another route.
But it's all good. It worked out.
No, not really.
We got 4,000 yard seasons out of it, man.
Not
Just
really.
let it live, man. Let it
Not
live,
really.
bro. Let it live, man.
Not really. I would have much preferred Creed Humphrey. I can't forget I forget who else was available there. But
because I forgot the list too. I've definitely seen the names. It's like, about this guy, you could have got that guy. You know, this guy was available too. Like, yes. Where?
like, that's again like the mess over the last couple years with Kenny Mitch and all that stuff. The offense. That don't blame me. Don't blame me. If it was me, we would have fired Canada. 7 gets another year for 2022. We still draft Pickens, so you imagine at 7 and Pickens, what that could have been. He gets the better O-line. Well, we wouldn't have had to draft the guy, I guess, because we signed Mason Cole. We actually signed some decent players. Our O-line was better for that year. Defense was better, too, I felt like. Defense had some upgrades. We ended up going 9-8. If we had 7, there were a lot of games that came down to the wire, came down to some super stuff happening. I remember Mitch early on. I think we would have won like 12-5 or something with 7.
I mean, it's unfortunate. We just never know. But I like it though. I like it.
Just don't blame me. All I'm saying is don't blame me. Don't blame me for the last 2 years. Actually, 3 years. Don't blame me for any of this.
Out of curiosity, is there any potential that it would have went not perfect? Because I know when you break it down, it's like perfect. Is there just any potential that it wouldn't have went perfect? Like when
I saw it go. I saw it go 9-8 and 10-7 with the mess that we had. I'm just
10 wins, a lot of wins. So we talk about that's a lot of wins at the NFL. So it's like, is there any way that you could see with your decision making?
Would we go 9-7-1 Ben's last season with the worst O-line in the league with Deontay and Claypool? Like, bro,
didn't he get compensated that offseason? Deontay got compensated soon that offseason. He got compensated soon though. It was like a year after he got paid.
Well, like I said, I got to see Ben do that with those guys and that whole scenario. That was
you be trying to lump Deontay in there with Chase Claypool. You can't lump him in there with.
Well, either way, maybe we would have kept Claypool if we still had 7. It could have been Deontay,
but we
Claypool, and Pickens.
Claypool while 7 was here.
No, we didn't.
No, you're right. It was next year. You're right. Good call. It was next year.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Who knows?
Hold on.
Who knows?
What's
maybe Claypool? Maybe Claypool's better. Maybe Claypool's top 3.
Man, all right. I guess we did trade him after that. I thought he was here with 7. I thought we traded him
with 7.
He was
for
his
his first 2 years.
Yeah. He just started doing
I think
videos in year 2.
We're at least in the playoffs and we're more of a threat. We're better contenders.
No, that sounds like we still in the same place. We're not looking to be a threat. We're not looking to be that. We're looking to be the champion.
We could have. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the Mason year, I think it was up for grabs. Chiefs were 11-6. Could have had better seeding for sure. You maybe have that home playoff game. A lot could have changed. It is what it is, though. It is what it is. I'm just saying, don't blame me.
I like it, man.
They tried to blame it. They tried to blame it all on 7.
Swayze TV definitely blaming you. He says Ben is why we are behind Deke. It's weird for thinking Ben was good. So they definitely going against you. And then
They tried to blame it all on Seth, and then they
Yeah.
tried to blame it all on Kenny. Clearly, it wasn't all on Kenny either with how this year played out.
Alex Algood says that Claypool was actually nice in the slot. That's what he said. And then Pittsburgh Tidy said that Claypool just fell and couldn't get up, which he did do a lot of.
Yeah.
But I like it though, man. I like it. Shout out to 7 though, man. Shout out to 7.
I don't know why we got into that combo, but
AJ Martinez, he brought it up, talking about the 7.
oh yeah, he said he should still be on the team. All right, that might be a little.
That wasn't
too far.
you. That was him.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
another year or two, maybe just another year. Maybe it was another. It was the 2 years we had Kenny. I think those could have been Ben seasons. Could have been.
Dang, Kenny.
We would have to build around Ben though. Like you gotta keep him upright. Definitely got to keep him healthy and not enable 8-sack games, 9-sack games where
It was there. It's killing him.
you got to build around him. But I mean, he could still sling it. Throw up from the pocket. Throw any ball that you needed. Obviously,
No, we saw that. Man.
Obviously, championship pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
Game's close in the fourth quarter. Dude's going to be clutch. But hey. Juice Bellamy says, Taj Brooks plays like Le'Veon Bell from Texas Tech.
He said Taj Brooks. Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard the name. I haven't watched him just yet, though. I have not seen him just yet, but I will for certain. Like I said, it's all season time, man. So, yeah, I'm in it. I get on him.
I might have missed a couple. Tons of fun. Says, am I the only one ready to move on from Cam Hayward and Larry O? Let's put a poll up. Also, Ohio State offensive coordinators going to Penn State to make Franklin look good.
He said move on from Cam and Larry.
Nah, just Joby's fine.
Now, Deke, you brought up how the Eagles D-line look, and you said we need to take their approach of either spending more or investing more in the interior part. You felt like what you saw from Jalen Carter and Jordan Daniels or Jordan Davis had you feeling pretty good. And
I'm ready to move off Larry O.
All right.
Cam Hayward, Benton, maybe you draft a guy.
Yeah, I was like, man, I ain't ready to move off of Killer Cam. Not
Cam.
Jeez.
Cam played like one
He
of the
said
best
both. He
interior
said
defensive
Cam
linemen.
and Larry.
That's what I'm,
There
Larry
he-
O, just
he said
Larry O.
both.
Not both. And then Q Vera says Kyle McCord plays like a great value Mayfield. Better
Y'all
than
don't be
what
like
we've
a Baker,
had.
bro. Y'all gotta chill. Y'all gotta chill, man. But he says that's still better than what we've had, though. Could be more exciting. I don't know if it's better.
He's definitely played better than what we've had in terms of his last 2 years in Tampa.
Mayfield part. I thought it was going back to the McCord part. My bad.
Oh.
Yeah, respect. Yeah, if you're talking about Baker, then yeah,
McCord
I'm with you
being
on
better
that.
than what we had?
Yes, I was like, I didn't. But because the reason I said it was because initially when the convo started about McCord, they said that he's better than what Kenny was. So that's what I'm thinking. They're saying that. I'm like, I don't agree with that. But yeah, if they're saying that Baker as a whole, heck yeah, Baker as a whole has been better than what we've had recently. But Baker also was the number 1 overall pick and is now another $100 million quarterback. Tampa paid him. So clearly, two organizations have committed resources and said that, we think that you're a guy.
Well, he was at a point though, like Justin Fields, kind of. He took a vet minimum contract with Tampa Bay because his stock was that far down.
That's fair. That's real.
He had to work his way back.
Mm-hmm.
So like
It took multiple stops though.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say the whole number 1 pick and being the Browns franchise quarterback kind of became irrelevant at that point. He's fighting for his NFL job. Like what he's doing in Tampa is like that's kind of earned from the ground up.
Yeah.
Good for him. Juice Bellamy, the other plan is to draft Matthew Golden out of Texas. I don't know.
Okay. Because he was talking about Taj Brooks in the other one when he said that's more like an L. Bell type guy.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
don't know.
assuming, I have to look into it. They said, man, give me about a week. Just give me about a week. I'm going to catch up on a lot of these names. Sorry, because, we definitely going to have options. We need to be players. Whether we talking in the draft or free agency, we need to be players, man.
Tons of fun. Gifted a Mets membership to Tyler from the 334.
Shout out to Tyler from the 334. And shout out to Tons of Fun being an absolute rock star paying it forward. But Tyler from the 334. Welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Farron Bradford says, watching Philly and see how free and clean their linebackers play confirms we need to invest more in our D-line. We need run stuffers and hole cloggers up front.
Yeah, that's fair. I know Jalen Carter was the 9th overall pick. Obviously, we know he had a little situation going on prior to the draft that probably knocked him off from being even higher in the draft, like first round type thing. But Jordan Davis, another one of them super high pedigree dudes, man. But them dudes, that's not just your average type of talent in there. If you want to get that, you got to be willing to. That's top 10, top 15 type picks. We typically don't want to spend that on D-line, but that's what that is.
Maybe
let's not confuse it.
Maybe
that's
we
fine.
should instead of drafting Broderick Jones.
That's fine, but let's just make sure that we're not confusing the two. That's a top 10, should have been top 5-ish, maybe even 1 overall type of guy. We all said the same thing, and even when the bad stuff that he was around happened, we all said he can keep dropping, and if he dropped to where we are, we would have also said, yeah, we'll pick him. Or if you fall out that top 10, do you move up to go get him? So that's that type of talent. That ain't just regular talent, I like it, though. I definitely like it. But
might not be a bad idea to get a guy this year. Second round.
Fair.
Receiver first, D lineman second.
That's fair. But definitely different, though.
Let's get us a nose tackle or something. Q Vera, Claypool nickname is Life Alert.
Hey, son. Y'all play it. But he do fall and he can't get up. It's real. It's real.
Mike Hood, salute to you all. Chat Goats, been working and listening in. Please stop with the Kenny talk. He left us.
Ooh, Mike Hood said he left us. He left us, Deke. And you keep speaking all high and happy about this, man. He left us high and dry, Deke. He left us. He the reason we still got questions at quarterback. Because if he would have stayed and been the guy,
how about we don't bring in Rush? How about we don't bring in Rush?
Or you could just play good and we ain't got to entertain it at all. Russ was the cause and effect.
I'll say stay healthy. I don't know about the play good stuff.
Cause and effect.
Yeah, he didn't play his best, but I think he would have played good down the stretch without Canada. He got hurt though, so
yeah, cause and effect.
But I think here's the thing. No, why I say like don't sign Russ, and I'm not saying. And here's the thing. I don't even think the Steelers are wrong for how they played everything out, given how Kenny played and everything, and Russ being available for $1 million. I get that, but also there is something to be said, and I brought this up in recent podcasts about just having a long-term vision and saying, do we really believe in this Kenny guy like that? You know, we drafted him in the first round. Let's invest in it. Let's go with him going for let's double down on that and see if this thing can work. So there is something to be said for that as well.
Technically, they still could have been doing that though. Mitch is a higher pedigree guy than Russ was coming out, but we know obviously at that stage when they both signed here, Russ was way further along career-wise.
Yeah, that's
I'm
that's
with
different. You signed Mitch before Kenny.
Yeah,
you drafted Kenny after that.
But
I think there's something to be said for that. I'm not saying the Steelers did it wrong, but that is a decision you made right there of all right, we signed Russ. This is gonna ruffle some feathers
with that though. Wouldn't you rather know if you have a quarterback that if it doesn't go his way, he is going to want to cut and get up out of here? Wouldn't you rather know that before you commit the dollars to it, though? And technically, we got that answer.
It all depends on how you view it. Because if Kenny was told
we
that,
saw glimpses of it at the end of the season with the Seattle stuff. So it was already. It's not like this was a new concept and it was the first time. Like there had been breadcrumbs saying that he didn't handle adversity. So now when you add this other piece that from the organization standpoint is, let me protect myself and make sure I got a higher end option if this quarterback doesn't develop. Now I got another guy that at least I feel confident can get the job done. He doesn't even try to fight it. He doesn't even try to say, all right, let's go. That's what Russ was saying from the time he had signed. And that was the thing that we applauded because it wasn't that it was just given to him. It was, can you come in here and have to earn it? Are you still going to be open to that? And everything that Russ said was that. The way that Kenny acted was the way that people thought Russ would react. Or Russ would act, oh, man, what you mean I got to compete with that? That's not mine? What do you mean by that?
You know what message it sends, though, bringing in a Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it says I'm not satisfied at the position. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get better at it. So
But
either you're better or
again,
he's better.
If the messaging was to Kenny behind the scenes that, we are going to give you every opportunity to succeed, like we believe in you're going to be the guy going forward.
How is that not true by bringing in Russ for $1 million?
I mean, it kind of, I don't know.
You brought in Russ for $1 million. It didn't cost you anything.
I could see why Kenny would feel like, man, I don't want to be looking stupid here. Like you said this to me, and this is Russell Wilson. Like I get it, but this is Russell Wilson. Now, I wish Kenny would have stayed and, to your point, acted like Mason Rudolph and
because I was going to say
competed with him.
What you're saying sounds like the internal insecurity from Kenny. If he felt not good enough with the Russ being here, then that's how he should react. Whereas if you feel like, yo, I don't care who you bring in here, I'm good enough, that's what Russ said. They ain't commit any more money to Russ. In fact, they had more invested in Kenny. Russ only was costing $1 million. But Russ's mindset is, I don't care who you put out there. I'm Russell Wilson. I'm nice. I've already done it so many times. So I don't care who you name. They not better than me. That's a different level of confidence and belief. Not everybody has that. Kenny showed that he didn't have that. Mason shows that he does have that mindset.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that because maybe it's just Kenny saying like, all right, I don't want to get punked anymore.
How are you getting punked? This is like nothing's given to you.
I don't think he made. I don't think he made the right decision for his career. But I don't think it was a lack of belief in himself.
Like
I think it was
like done wrong. At the NFL level.
No, I actually think
like,
it was.
What are we
more,
asking here? What are we trying to do?
No, I'm actually saying like I actually do think it was more about belief in himself. Of saying like let me go do this out because I don't believe you guys are setting this up right here. Or you guys aren't believing in me, so let me go somewhere else.
Like I said, that's fair. But at the NFL level, like, yo, Kenny, you had more than enough time. After 1 year, that's more than enough time to know if you're good or not. They gave you the second year and even gave you the grace of, we're just going to bring in Russ and not spend big money or go and draft somebody in your position. They were trying to give him that grace that you're talking about. That's why I said the internal part of if Kenny was feeling insecure about his skills, that's going to naturally show up more and more and more. And now if you don't project it the right way, you end up like how it happened with Kenny. But that's what I see more than anything. I don't look at the organization as, man, they did him dirty. It's like, bro, NFL is cutthroat.
I think they did him. They did him. No. Here's what I'm saying. I think they did him dirty with Matt Canada and the offensive structure, offensive scheme in his first couple of years. Like that, I think that's a part of it. But all I'm saying, like this is an approach the team could have taken that offseason as opposed to bringing in Russ and saying like, you know what, this guy's young. We drafted him in the first round. Do we really believe in him like that? Like, forget about Russ. Like, we're not even going to entertain this. And they didn't. So like, all I'm saying, like that's a decision you made. And we went 6-6 with Russ this year, and not much has changed. So I mean,
that's fair.
What if we did keep Kenny and he had that third year to develop under an Arthur Smith, fair. All that stuff. So like. That is an approach the team could have taken. I'm not saying they did it wrong. I don't think they were. I don't think
that's fair, bro.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to be walking on eggshells and be that concerned about Kenny when bringing in a Russ because you are ultimately trying to make your team better. But in terms of like long-term vision and buy-in like that, and the guy that you drafted in the first round, they definitely could have taken that approach instead.
With that though, right? Well, granted, this still isn't apples to apples because I was going to say, what if they just admitted that they were wrong and they were ready to move on? But they didn't do that. The only reason Kenny isn't here is because Kenny freaked out. Not once did they say that, yo, we don't think he's the guy. Not once did they say they don't think they can win with Kenny. Not once did they say, yo, we're ready to move on from him. They literally brought Russ in for $1 million, bro. I don't know like how that messaging is anything different. It's like, yo, you know what this is. The door is open solely because of the 2 years that you have been the starter. What more do you want the organization to do at that stage? It's $1 million to bring this dude in here. You just had Mitch Trubisky. You was paying how much money to? Like, what, you know what I mean? But Kenny should feel some type of way. It's like, no, man, if you good enough, man, go play. At this level, everybody's nice. So if you nice, you show it. Have that confidence and go do it, man.
Sure.
You the first rounder on top of that. It's not like you're the first rounder for like they drafted you here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, but hey,
Like I'm taking from the player side, we look like, yo, you quit.
We're
You quit on the squad, bro. Like, yeah.
We're sitting. All I'm saying is we're sitting at 10-7 at the end of this year. Russ went 6-6.
I'm with you on the end result, but in terms of the minutia, one was a quitter, one is a leader. That's how it's viewed from the player side. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying how I know I would look at it as like, bro, you quit on us. I don't care about anything that you talking about. I don't have any empathy or sympathy for you. You quit. When it got tough, you cut bait and run. You know how many of us don't get the man? They bring people in all the time.
No,
play through it.
He took
play.
that risk.
But yeah,
he took that risk because
absolutely
for sure. I mean,
man,
going to a team and like admitting in a way that all right, I'm just going to be a backup here. That could change your perception on you across the league. Where
heck yeah.
Either way, I guess he was willing to take that risk, given that he just I guess the lack of trust in the organization became evident after bringing in Russ.
That's fair.
For what I don't,
we don't know what happened behind the scenes of what was said.
Like to me, I don't think him wanting to move off was like a lack of belief in himself. I don't believe. I think it was more indicative.
It's indicator. I'm with you. Or
indicative.
Yeah.
Yes, indicative of him believing in himself and just. I don't think you guys are really like fighting for me like that. Let me go somewhere else and figure this out. Was that a smart move? I mean, I don't think so. I still don't think it was, but it's just funny that how the season ended in Kenny's last year here. You know, he had the starting record of like 7-4 before he got hurt, and everyone's saying, you know, it's his fault. Get his ass out of here. All this stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to just, you know, we're going into year 3 with him, and you know we're 7-4 when he's out there. Could you see him be better with a different coordinator going into a year 3 development, all this stuff? But no, yeah, we just that was the fans' approach on it, because I do think the Steelers were open for a Kenny year 3.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they were against that. I just think that they saw an opportunity to bring in Russell Wilson for $1 million. It's like
for sure. But yeah, you see how the season played out, and Russ is 6-6 as a starter. Like not much really changed, and you thought
from your perspective, not much has changed. From the team's perspective, they don't agree with that all the way. The only reason I say this is because they're considering whether it's Russ or Phil's bringing one of them back. So they don't feel like they're stuck in the same place. They feel like one of these dudes is at least option A for coming
in
into
a way.
They
thought it was they had Kenny as one of those options.
They did. They had Kenny as the first option of
so
all the
I mean,
three.
it is. I mean, it is kind of the same though. Russ and then young quarterback. Like,
okay,
what's the decision between the two?
The only reason why I think it's different is we kind of have the answer that it's not going to be both of these dudes back next year. Whereas we legitimately would have had Kenny and Russ here at the same time. That wouldn't have changed. This, we're about to say we're picking one or the other, not both of them about to be here again. You know what I mean?
I would assume you'd be picking between one or the other, though, too.
That's fair.
It's either Russ was good enough, and that
fair.
all depends on the calf injury and all that shit. You're just like, is Russ good enough going forward, or are we going to see what Kenny can do a year sitting behind Russ and see if he can get it in year 4?
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
But either way, I don't even know what point I was really trying to get. I think it's just, the Steelers, how we were talking about the whole Milroe thing and how, you know, what if we bring back Russ, but then we draft Milroe, look towards the future of, like, having him be the guy. We could have made that decision and just taken the whole Russ stuff out of the conversation, or bringing in a guy to compete with Kenny out of the conversation. Or it could have been a Mason. I don't know. But
no, that's real. That is real. All righty. Man, we about to be in here at 6:45. Let's go. All right. How many supers we got? Oh, y'all in here. All right.
Yeah, what do you want to do? I'm good.
Do we got them screenshotted? Are we saved? Do we got them saved?
I can, yeah. I mean,
all right. Because I was about to say, kicks technically, I think I'm supposed to be downstairs now. All right. We can get this. I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Rapid fire. Let's see if we can get that.
King Whooper says Moats on suicide watch after last night.
Hey man, don't do me like that. But I was a little, it was bliss. It's like weird. You appreciate the competition. You respect the opponent like a son of a gun. You obviously wish it was further in terms of getting that confetti rained on you. It's a lot. It's a lot. But, I guess that's emotions, man. You just ride through all of them, but not suicide watch. Nah, man, I'm having too much of a good time with this here life, man, to check out by myself now. Heck, no, I ain't trying to do that now.
Tons of fun. If the Steelers are moving on from Cam Hayward, he should reconstruct his contract. He's not playing like a top 10 DT.
Oh, all right. I don't agree with that one. I definitely agree with that one. He was top 10 this year. He was definitely top 10 this year.
Yeah,
that's Kelly
for
Cannon.
sure.
He was definitely top 10 this year.
King Whooper, shoulders slouch and everything. It'll be okay, big guy. I know Bills should have won.
Come on, man. Nah, you just got to rock with it, man. Like, I get the postseason element of it. And at the same time, it's like, yo, I also know that, man, Josh plays this dude to the wire every single time, regular season or postseason. He's beaten him multiple times as well. But we know right now it's the postseason element. That's kind of the elephant. But shoot, man, just keep showing up. You're not going to win by having a negative attitude. You're not going to win by being a pessimist about it. You're not going to win by, woe is me. It is, nah. You better, all right, that clip ain't work. Get more bullets. Let's go. So that's the approach I did, man. So just, like I said, different, like, energy when it ends because it's hopeful. Whereas we obviously don't here, we performing some surgery. So it's a little different.
AJ Martinez says 8 is old, bringing a high-powered runner with a cannon and groom, a.k.a. Fields. We need the right blocking scheme for Fields. Teach him how to make reads.
When he says 8, is he talking about Rodgers?
I think he's talking about Rodgers.
Okay. If it's between Fields and Rodgers, I prefer Fields. I do. Even though Rodgers, I think, historically is the nice dude, and we know he still has more talent, I just think that's way more nuclear. Like, the amount of avenues for it to go bad with Rodgers, I think, are just more prevalent. Whereas I think with Fields, I can see why it should work. I can understand what could make it not work, but I don't feel like it's multiples of why it wouldn't work. I think it's just one big, it just didn't develop the passing part. And I can live with that. I think with Rodgers, it's like, yo, it's all right. Is it healthy enough? Is it happy enough? Does it have the right pieces around? Did it wake up on the wrong side of the bed? Like, I feel like with Rodgers, that's what you got to deal with a little bit more. So that's why I would prefer Fields if it was between the two.
I'm good with either one. Yeah, I think I would just lean Fields too. Yeah. Depends on the day you ask me, but
me too. But today I like Fields.
Fields is it's just the simpler way to go.
It's less.
You can find out your future
chaos.
too.
Yeah, because if Rodgers doesn't work, you're essentially right back in the exact same spot you were with the whole Russ thing.
If you're going for just a year or two of trying to go all in via the Rams or like the Buccaneers, though, and you tell me that that's the plan,
yeah, that too.
All right, just go Rodgers then.
That if you do that, that works.
Sell out, sign Higgins, or bring in Devontae Adams. Just try everything to load up for these next 2 years.
Yeah,
I can buy into that. At least you're taking a chance.
Swinging for the fences.
Yeah. Justin Gordon, 25-year-old Fields, was a contender in a championship fight. He couldn't knock out the 35-year-old champ. He let it go to the scorecards. Waiting on his development is wasting time. Russ is better now.
Hey, shout out to the analogy, Justin. I do like that. It was a questionable scorecard, though, Deke. Tell them, man, it was questionable, man. They had one judge over here with a scorecard that his score counted more than the rest of the judges' scorecards. So that was why, you know, Russ won. But, yeah, I don't think it was just he went to the scorecards and lost. I don't think that was that. But, yeah, Deke, it was the one who had the ultimate say-so. He had more pull. Yeah.
Right.
Shout out, man. I like that, though. That was pretty solid right there, man. But no, it's going to be fun, man. We're going to obviously keep this convo rolling, man, for multiple reasons. It's not going away, and we're going to have to figure out this quarterback situation soon, at least to get the direction of where we want to go this offseason, man. So I like it, man. I like it.
Justin Gordon says, I believe Russ beats Indy and Dallas and blows out the other 4. Justin still loses 4 of the last 5. I spot him the Cincy game.
I think that's fair.
I mean,
it was more than just the quarterback issue in that final 5 stretch. I know
I'm wondering how Russ is beating Indy and Dallas like that
with his arm. That's when we saw Fields looking his best with his arm.
Well, that's my point. The problems in the first half with the offense weren't on Fields at all. It was Pickens fumbling and Broderick Jones penalties. It wasn't on Fields, and then he lit it up in the. I don't know what my point is. I don't know what Russ could have done any better than Fields in that game.
People are saying,
I think he had 300-some yards and 4 touchdowns.
I think the thing is, if people are saying Fields lit them up and he was using his arm, what would Russ have done? I think what. But that's the thing. I mean, and that's fair.
There's no guarantee with Russ with any of this, given how the end of the season took place or what happened at the end of the season. There,
that's fair. But I think that's definitely what he said. Is like, if you thought that was good, what if he was out here throwing it?
Yeah, I guess we're going off of the Bengals game, Russ, and not the 0-5 Russ.
If we only focus on the negative Russ, then he's always going to be out of it. If we focus on the positive Russ, then it's
that's all I'm. The only reason I bring it up is because he's saying I believe Russ beats those two teams. I don't know. I don't know if that's any guarantee.
I mean, more people are going to believe he would have won without a debate about it.
Russ?
Yes.
And against Indy and Dallas?
Yeah. I get why you're saying what you're saying.
How he started the season, sure. I would have said that as well. Maybe we're 5-1 with Russ, 6-0. But I don't know what Russ we're getting.
I get it. You know, my perspective is different. The opponent matters to me, man. I know what that last 5 was. I know what the first 6 was. It matters to me. It don't matter to everybody else. That's why I ain't tripping on it, man.
It's not like Bengals defense is any good, though.
Once again, we can have a different perspective. So, I ain't tripping on it. Man, I'm over here trying to finish up anyway. So, I ain't tripping, bro. Yeah. Right. So, I'm good. Yeah. We ain't about to change our opinions on that part. Yeah. But what you got? You got anything before we get up out of here, man?
I'm good.
I like it there, baby. I like it. Well, shoot, hopefully y'all enjoyed the show. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. But either way, we appreciate you for tuning in. And until next time, baby.
Peace.